Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first step here on GDQ Hotfix. I'm your host, Keizaron, and I'm joined by my ever lovely co-host, JHobz. Hobbs, I'm super excited for the next few months.
A few months? Oh, God.
Surprise! No,
We're going to be doing this for half a year, apparently. No, I am too. This is going to be really fun. What are we doing, Keys?
Anyone who has seen the show before, you know that Hobbs and I did a month of Kingdom Hearts 2 Rando versus Pokemon Crystal Rando in an effort to show all of you that even if you're not playing the same games, you can still grab your friend and have very close races and just keep each other company and just have a blast of a time. Now, to backtrack a little bit, if you haven't seen the show before because you're new to the channel or you just need a refresher on what the first step is, our goal here is to show everyone at home that you're a speedrunner. By default, all you have to do is just pick up the game, play through it once. You don't even have to play through it once necessarily, but as long as you have the goal of speed in mind, then you are a speedrunner. And a lot of times we will do games that we have played for 8 hours or less, or a game that we haven't even touched. But we're gonna kick off the next month with stuff we have a little more experience in.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different. What we're doing is either learning for the first time for some of these or relearning some old runs of ours. For Keys, they're all in the Pokemon series. For me, they're all in the Kingdom Hearts series. And we're just going to be lining up the best we can between the two, between each series, various games that line up to a similar time frame. So I have spent the last month or so learning and relearning some Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep runs. And Keys has spent the last bit relearning Pokemon Red glitchless. So what we're going to do today is have me race because the times were hard to sync up. I'm going to race Ventus and Aqua against Keys' Pokemon Red 90% glitchless. And the reason I'm doing those two characters is because they are both the fastest and they are done at critical level 1, which makes them really hard and should hopefully be, more enjoyable for all of you as I pull my hair out and die.
Meanwhile, I am, as stated, I am playing Pokemon Red, where I will pull my hair out and die.
Hopefully not. That yours. If you lose a Pokemon, that gets real rough.
Yeah. Hobbs has a little bit more of I guess for lack of better words, obviously you don't want to die in your speedruns,
No.
but Hobbs' deaths are probably a lot more forgivable than mine, at least to a degree. Once I get to a certain point, the worst I can do with dying is lose time. But within the first 30-ish minutes, if I die, that's very problematic. So I will actually be doing a slight variant of the route that is kind of like race safe, for lack of better words, but not the actual race route, because I do want to try and show off some of the tricks as much as I can. Before we get into it fully, I want to let people know what's coming up with the GDQ channel soon. Unapologetically Black and Fast is coming up February 11th to the 12th. Please join us and celebrate Black excellence in speedrunning coming up next month. Use !UBAF in Twitch chat if you want more information on that. And just around the corner is Frost Fatales 2023. The prize submissions are open right now, so if you have something that you would like to donate as a prize to Frost Fatales 2023, then you can go to gamesdonequick.com for a link, for the submission form and everything, where you can get more information. You can use exclamation prizes in chat as well if you would like to get more info there. Exciting stuff. Yeah. With that, Keys, are we basically just ready to go with this? I'm weirdly nervous. I'm incredibly nervous, actually. It almost feels like this is our first episode of the show ever. We're what, 150 in now or something?
We don't often do speedruns on this show that we're supposed to be decent at.
No. Let me eliminate half of your sentence. We don't often do speedruns.
No, we're always trying to go fast. All right, I'm on critical mode level 1. The timing actually starts from character selection, but I'm just going to start it from here.
I'm hovering new game. Timing starts at new game.
Okay, so without further ado, if you'd like to count down, and then we'll get into this. I think you might want to talk first about your starter and everything like that, or all the things you got to do, and then
I have a little more buffer time for the first few minutes, but then you're gonna see that Hobbs and I are gonna try really hard to bounce back and forth with commentary, because there's gonna be some parts where I really need to focus, and there's gonna be some parts where Hobbs needs to focus.
And there's just a million things to explain in this game, but I'm not gonna be able to get to all of it. So we're
gonna try our best, folks.
Yeah.
Let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So here we go.
I pick Squirtle. We picked Squirtle because it's the fastest Mon we can get to defeat Brock. And it also lets us use Strength and Surf later on. Now, Squirtle is not the actual main Pokemon that I will use. I will be using a manipulated Nidoran that turns into a Nidoking. The manipulation's pretty neat. It's not too terribly difficult. I'm not too concerned about nailing that, but what I am concerned about is everything afterwards. I'm also, for the sake of this being a race and me not dying to rival 2 minutes in, I'm going to grab this PC potion. You don't normally pick this up unless you're either doing the beginner route or you're doing a race with friends. I also need to remember very, very hard to swap my potions and my Pokeballs in my inventory because I will forget and I'll try to throw a potion at the Nidoran and be embarrassed.
Okay.
Yeah, there really isn't. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, all I was going to say is, so I'm playing Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. If you're unfamiliar with this game, it is like most of the other Kingdom Hearts games, except that you might notice in the bottom left, I have this command, like this set of commands. It's called a command deck. I'm doing a horrible job at this fight at the beginning, but this fight sucks. So the command deck allows me to perform various actions. Oh, man. Allows me to perform various actions that I can equip, much like, you would equip a deck of cards. There we go. And they all have like their own cooldowns, and we can kind of modify those with upgrades down the line. But otherwise, it plays similar to, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 in terms of you have your basic Keyblade attacks. You've got your jumping, your rolling, your gliding, all that kind of thing. We are going to be also mixing commands together at times, called that melding. And we're going to be doing a lot of menus in this run, despite it being a pretty short run, because I have to mess with my commands a lot.
So here I am already in the first fight against our rival. He cheats and picks the Mon that's, type advantage over us, but it doesn't really matter at this point because we don't have anything other than Tackle. I led with a Tail Whip because Tail Whip and Tackle ×4 usually kills unless Bulbasaur leads a Growl, and it sure did, because why wouldn't it? I've missed 2 tackles already. Tackle is 95% accurate. Everyone who has come into the Pokemon series from Gen 5 onwards, you're very, very spoiled.
2 tackle
the fight's
misses
going
already. That's
all
funny.
right. Yeah, I missed 2 tackles already. It's horrible.
That's great.
And the thing is, I say 95 accurate, but that's not entirely true. So the way the accuracy is checked in this game is it rolls a number between 0 to 255. I'm going to shut up real quick to look at my stats. Okay, this Squirtle has 12 special, which is exactly what I want to see at this point. But yeah, accuracy is a number rolled between 0 to 255. So nothing is like truly like, it's not 95%, it's like 94 point something or whatever percent, because that includes the funky thing where if you roll the number 255, no matter what the move is, unless it is swift or you use an X accuracy, i.e. skipping the accuracy check entirely, 255 results in a miss. That's how you get a 100% move like Horn Attack missing. It's affectionately referred to as a Gen 1 miss. I guess you can't really tell if your Tackle is a legitimate miss or a Gen 1 miss in that case.
It doesn't really matter. Either way, it's not hitting the enemy.
Matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I obviously don't want to see any Gen 1 misses, but I have averaged 3 to 5 every day that I've come back to this game. I mean, you use a ton of moves, you're bound to get unlucky like that, but it always happens at the worst time.
I'm getting a little bit of a weird situation here, so I'm kind of doing some improv. Okay. So I just cleaned up the dwarves that were hiding around in this area, Snow White and the 7 Dwarves, and basically one thing you're going to see me do a lot besides rolling in a way that looks like it should break your ankles is or break your legs actually, is using sliding dash for movement, and that's true in multiple characters. You're also going to see me scroll my notes a lot because I have a lot of notes for this, and we're actually going to dive into our notes a little bit at the end of the run if we have enough time, because it can be pretty interesting to see how people learn speedruns, I think. Scrolling my notes. There we go.
Yeah, right now I'm just doing story-based stuff. I walked behind Oak there because if you walk behind Oak or talk to him from the side, it actually makes your rival walk less tiles, and your rival walks at like half speed that you do. So it's actually like really tiny, like optimal movement and whatnot. We hadn't gotten an encounter until now, which is pretty good because actually, no, this is bad. This is a terrible encounter. I take it back. We need to defeat one encounter. We need the extra experience because the extra experience allows us to get to level 8 after the first required fight, and that allows us to have bubble. I need to fight whatever this is no matter what, unfortunately. I do see a question from chat that asks, why is red ran over blue? So as everyone may or may not be aware, the sister games of Pokemon have different Pokemon that show up depending on what version. Nidoran male is more common in red than in blue. Now I am manipulating Nidoran, but my assumption here, and I could be wrong, but my assumption here is red is used in this case just because the encounter percentage for Nidoran male is so much greater in this game that it was easier to find a usable manipulation, which I'm actually getting pretty close to. I'm going to start a manipulation in about 20 minutes. I'm going to buy a spare Pokeball here because manipulations can be scary, and I want to make sure that I have a spare ball just in case something goes wrong. And I'm going to go to my menu and swap Pokeballs and potions so I don't mess that up.
Nice,
I'm terrified that I'm going to mess that up.
I'm getting near the end of my Snow White escort, not Cinderella. Basically, I just am trying to keep Snow White moving as much as possible. Enemies that get in her way will cause her to stop for a minute, even if they're not attacking her directly. So you have to kind of play that super carefully. And now I'm heading into my first boss already. We're going to use something called shot locks a lot in this boss. Basically, I hold down the target button, like the lock-on button, and I can just perform this pretty nifty attack that we're going to be using throughout the runs. I need to specifically count up to 11. It's actually kind of hard to time. Then use an ether to refill my focus gauge, which is the bar at the bottom right that I actually use in order to do these shot locks. If I do more than 11, I could run myself out of focus. It's okay if it happens a little bit, but I don't want it to happen too much. I got 2 DMs in a row from the boss here, desperation moves, which basically means that I just had to wait out a little bit of time. A little bit of time lost, it's out of my control, not a big deal.
I did just successfully catch the Nidoran. So what that manipulation does is it allows me to get the highest level Nidoran I possibly can with the best possible stats I possibly can. And it allows me to just throw a ball without weakening it. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't recognize what frame I was on fast enough. You can actually chain that manipulation to get a Pidgey in the previous route's patch of grass as well, and also do the same thing where you YOLO ball it. And then if you do that well enough, you can go through the forest here without any encounters, including, the tiles that do produce encounters, because there are tiles here that don't, and I'll explain that in a sec. And then also manipulate the first turn of the next fight. It's a very difficult trick. It's called triple extended manip. I usually get to the bird pretty fine, but sometimes the timing for catching the bird's slightly different than catching the Nidoran. So it is a little bit tricky. But I can get a bird on Route 3 after Brock, so we are still fine. I wanted to show that off, a little bit of a bummer. As for the encounterless tiles that I was talking about, if you look at a grass tile in the English version of the game, and you see like a star-shaped grass patch in the bottom right corner of that tile, for some reason it doesn't produce encounters. So there's a path in Viridian Forest.
I got a little sequence break coming up. Oh, I messed it up once, but hopefully we should be fine here. Okay, I just target an enemy up there, fall a little bit after a jump, and do an attack in just the right way, and I can actually just get up to a ledge I'm not really supposed to be able to get up to. It's pretty neat.
Did you core skip? That sounds like core skip.
No. And now more sliding dash for movement. We're going to use that a lot here. I'm just going to try to skip ledge grabs as much as possible because ledge grabs are really slow, especially in this game. And now I'm going into an extended grind section, so I could talk about this either right now, or if now is a better time for you to explain some of the keys, I can wait just a second.
You can explain it in just a sec. Sure. I'm just about to say that Weedle's only supposed to do 3 damage to you per poison sting unless it rolls a 1 in 39 high roll, and it sure rolled a 4 on me, so that ruined my healing and everything. Really unfortunate. But that's fine.
So I am doing, I'm running around on a ball of yarn, taking out enemies very quickly. And I'm doing this in order to collect, to get quite a few things, actually, that we need to get throughout the run. The first is I need to get upgrades for these things called D-Link. D-Link. You see Snow White has her like portrait off to the side there. D-Links are basically summons in this game. And what I need are 2 D-Link upgrades for Snow White, 2 D-Link upgrades for Terra, and I need 3 fleeting crystals. I've gotten 2 fleeting crystals and 1 thing for Terra, so we're not doing too bad.
So luckily our Squirtle has good enough special to where this shouldn't be a problem. But if we had a bad special Squirtle and Onyx was a 3-shot, then not having the bird would be kind of a bummer because the bird's kind of a good like emergency situation. You don't want Nidoran to miss out on any experience, but you also only want Nidoran to get half of the experience from here. Also, since Squirtle has Bubble, it is the key to us winning this fight. Double defense curl, that's cool.
I now just need 1 more fleeting crystal and 2 upgrades for Snow White. There's the first. I am going to have to revert from Snow White because you can't upgrade again until you've kind of reused the D-Link. So I had to collect some resources there that allow me to summon the D-Link again. And now, oh, I forgot about these. That's fine. Do this. So the reason I'm not just using the Yarn Ball all the time, like for these enemies, is because this attack I'm using has a higher drop rate. And I got all the fleeting crystals I need. Ideally, I would like 1 more, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, hey, I did. I did get another one. Sweet. Nice. But I do still need that last D-Link upgrade for Snow White. The nice thing is now I can just kill any enemy can drop them. I don't need to worry about specific enemies at all. Unfortunately,
so Brock's done.
Just sometimes
my first boss is done.
Nice, nice. Okay, I know I got a pulsing crystal drop. That'll be important for later. So I'm still going to have to reload this room. You might be wondering, why am I grinding in a level 1? Like, didn't I say this was level 1? I'm not getting any experience from this. I do have the 0 EXP ability on, so I gain no experience. However, these drops and stuff are very, very much worth it. Okay, there we go.
Now Squirtle's done. We're not going to use Squirtle for anything other than if I have to swap out due to an emergency and also for strength and surf usage. So we are now Nidoran male. Route 3 is very scary, especially the fight after this. I will be safety saving because it is a fight that can easily just end your run. That crit really didn't help me at all. Crits in Gen 1 are kind of weird. They ignore any stat boost, period. Yeah. So me critting the Weedle earlier was kind of bad because a tackle from 2 tail whips will do more damage than a critical tackle. So that's kind of why that fight took 5 hits instead of the usual 4.
Okay, so I'm going to get hit intentionally here. Unfortunately, I didn't get good luck. Oh! Except I messed something up and it ended up in a good result, so we're okay. Basically, I want to be in crit health like this because it makes me do a little bit more damage while I'm using Terra's D-Link.
Meanwhile, I'm just leering and horn attacking. That's the name of the game for the next little bit. This Nidoran's going to go through a major growth spurt in about 8 minutes, though. We're not going to see Nidoran for too terribly long.
All right, I am done with my second main world.
So something interesting about Gen 1, and it's very, very silly. So there's badge boosts. Badge boosts were a thing that existed between Gens 1 through 3, but they work a little differently depending on the game. In this game, each badge... Well, every other badge gives you a boost in your stats. So the odd-numbered badges, so Brock, Surge, Oga, Blaine. Brock gives you an attack boost. So you inherently do a little more damage after you get the badge. But what's interesting with how this game handles everything is anytime that your stats are altered, they reapply the badge boost, which is a 9/8 boost. So me getting Tail Whip from that Rattata there, twice, I have now gotten my attack up by 9/8, and then by 9/8 again. So I did significantly more damage. Okay, 3 times. I really don't want to die. Please don't do that. But you lose those badge boosts upon level up. So even though I just got a massive increase to what would normally be 50% or so health on him, it doesn't matter anymore. Now, Ekans critting me there is actually funny because of what I mentioned about crits being bad. Ekans probably would have done like 10 damage to me with all those tail whips, but he instead did 4 because he crit himself and hecked himself. I'm actually in a really good position. That was kind of funny. Yeah. I should be dead.
Crits are also super, they're significantly more likely in Gen 1 than in any other generation.
They're based off of the Pokemon's base speed stat, not what their current stat is. So like if you agility 6 times, you don't do more crits, but something that has an inherently high speed stat like a Jolteon or an Electrode have a much higher crit rate than something like this Weedle.
All right, so now we're going to see one of the big reasons we wanted to get level 2 D-Link for Terra. I now have access to 2 Sonic Blade moves. We were using them in the Lucifer boss fight as well, but here's where I consider it kind of more relevant. This is going to allow us to corral these goons. Goons are awful, and I'm going to say that with more gusto when I get to the Aqua Run, because these are some of the hardest enemies to deal with. They attack really quickly, and they do a ton of damage because we're on level 1. I'm getting a D-Link drop that doesn't matter anymore because I'm already at max level for Terra. And with Terra's D-Link, you have this property called Auto Guard or Auto Block, which sounds like it'd be great. You automatically block attacks, right? That's super great. Except it'll just do it like at really terrible times, and then you'll just die. Generally, you want to be in control of things when you're doing a speedrun, not the AI.
So getting 2 string shots from the Weedle is actually really, really bad for me because not only was I slower than Kakuna, so I got Hardens up more, but I'm speed tied with this Metapod. I want to try and leave Route 3 with 5 Horn Attack PP. I can do it with lower, but 5 is a really good sweet spot. 4 is pretty common. Anything below that means something kind of went wrong. I think I'm going to be at 5. Actually, no, I should be at 5 anyway, even with that, because that Rattata tail whipped me 5,000 times. But after this fight, I'm going to look for the backup bird that I didn't get. And then after I get that bird, I am not going to talk for the next, 4 minutes because it's the longest manip in the game. It's a complicated and difficult manip. But by doing it, I will only get 1 encounter in Mount Moon before the first trainer I fight. And that is a Paris, which we need.
Yeah, so I can talk a lot more about what I'm doing in that time. I just did another little small sequence break where I used sliding dash to clear a gap that you're supposed to need some other movement abilities to get to. That allowed me to get to... hold on, let me do this menu real quick. I'm going to combine 2 abilities here. We're going to combine Strike Raid and Sliding Dash with a Fleeting Crystal. That'll give me Payback Raid with Magic Haste. I care about the Magic Haste. It's going to make my magic commands come off cooldown significantly faster. And I need to equip the Payback Raid in order for that to happen. I need to now head into my next boss fight already. So for this boss fight, you're going to see why we cared about getting 2 levels on Snow White's D-Link. I'm going to use a Balloon Letter, which is an item that just refills my D-Link gauge so that I can use Snow White. I'm going to take a hit intentionally. So far, this is perfect RNG. I want her to stay here. Okay, good. And now I'm just going to use the finisher for Snow White here. And getting hit like that makes her command gauge fill extremely quickly, which is that bar you see above the commands like sleepy, sneezy, and all that stuff.
I'm going to actually turn on my input display, which you'll see on top, so you can see just how many A presses I have to do here. But Godspeed, Hobbs. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit.
Yeah, all good. So I'm hoping to get lucky with where she goes now. That was a pretty lucky spot. Good. Normally, you don't want to see her actually teleport to the side here, but because of how I handled that, I did want to see it. So I didn't want to see this move. I cannot damage her while she's using this move. So I just have to wait. Hopefully I can damage her enough on the last one to kill her. Nope, so I'm going to have to sit through another one of these. And this is not good. Okay, I had to kind of back off there so I didn't get hit by anything. This should kill her, though. All right. So got a little unlucky. But I will take it. When I don't die, that is always a good sign. It is extremely, extremely easy to die in this run at pretty much all points. To get through all of Enchanted Dominion without a death, I'm really happy about. While he's continuing to work on his manip and everything, I'll start talking about the next fight, which is really pretty tricky and very weird. So Vanitas is a character we're going to fight in as both of the characters, as both Aqua and Ventus. And Vanitas loves to just dodge out of whatever you're trying to do. He does not care. He'll just like roll out of something that should otherwise hit like any other enemy in the game. And because of that, the way we handle him in this fight is to put him to sleep and never let him wake up again. It is much easier said than done. And specifically, I want him to get in this first sleep when I initially use it. If he doesn't, then things get really scary. All right, so that's really lucky. So I'm going to wait for a specific timing because I only have 3 sleeps and I only have 1 magic haste. So my sleep is actually not off cooldown by the time he starts to wake up. So I have to have extremely precise timing here. If I get greedy, I can sneak in some extra attacks, but otherwise we're actually letting Mickey do all of the damage here. And because I'm talking while doing this, I really don't want to sneak in extra attacks. See, I did that one a little early, which might come to bite me later. Okay. We should be okay. All right,
I got it.
Hey, nice.
Good. It's always nerve-wracking to do that. Even if you're like an expert at this game, like it's always one tiny thing ruins everything. I'm going to save before this fight, though, because this fight is terrifying. You can die in very many ways.
All right, my Vanitas went fine. So that's good.
Nice. Sounds like we're both having a pretty good go at it so far.
Yeah, I lost some time on the grind, having to room transition a few more times than I would have liked. But honestly, it could have been about 3 minutes worse or something, because that's just how this game is. So I'm glad that it was not any worse than it was.
Now to kind of explain, so like I said, I put up the input display so you could see that I pressed A like 5 billion times.
Oh wait, cool trick real quick. Yeah, I'm just going to fly up into the air real quick. All right, go, carry on.
Nice. Anyway, so what the A presses are doing is it's actually introducing a slight amount of lag to the game. So I get to successfully manipulate what's going on because every time you see me do an A press, I'm essentially telling the game no encounter here because I'm lagging it just enough to stop it from forming. It's a hard manip. It's a hard manip because you have so much that you have to do. You have to pick up a handful of items. You have to do really funky movement. The way that I learned it, and I can go over it a little more in depth if we have enough time at the end, is looking everywhere but where I'm walking and trying to look for like something that could give me an indicator of some sort. Like, okay, well, this particular area has 3 rocks when the other has 2. So that's where I change my movement. So like I'm looking basically everywhere but where my character actually is to do this manip. And that also makes it scary. If you do one thing wrong, you're most likely failing the manip. There are a couple of spots where you can delay the A press a little bit and just have a little bit of wiggle room. But they're few and far between. Pulling it off is really cool. I'm happy I got to show that off at least.
All right, I'm doing a really big shopping menu and equipping a bunch of commands. So commands can actually level up in this game, which is how we can start to combine them or meld them together and get higher level, even like higherly named levels. Command that was English. That all made sense.
Yeah.
But basically, I want to level up some commands. So even though I don't need to kill the enemies in this room, the game does not like force me to, I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing that in order to level up these commands. And I'm doing it with very specific combos. to just try to take them out as quickly as possible. I need that D-Link gauge because you need a full D-Link meter in order to use one.
Now, some of the items I picked up during that manip, I picked up a rare candy. You saw me use that. I picked up an escape rope. Thank God I didn't use that. I picked up a moonstone, and I picked up the TMs for Water Gun and Mega Punch. The biggest reason that you use Nidoking over anything else in this game is its move pool is massive. It learns basically every TM except Dig, which makes no sense because it's a ground type, but you know, what Gen 1's a thing. But yeah, as soon as we finished that rocket fight and got to level 15, we immediately candied the 16, which gets you Nidorino. We taught Water Gun, and then we immediately moonstoned to Nidoking. Now, casually, you usually don't want to stone something that quickly because stone evolutions usually don't get extra moves. But Nidoking will learn one move from here, and it's the absolute best move that we can get from the Nidoking, and it's Thrash. Thrash saves a ton of time. You select it once, and you can attack up to 4 times without having the menu again. It saves a lot of time. It's also a strong move. But we are successfully out of Mount Moon. I'm able to talk a little more. How you doing, Hobbs?
That was perfect timing because that was a whole lot of stressful menuing for me for a second. But yeah, I leveled up those commands I was talking about, which allowed me to turn regular magnets into Magneras. So they will pull enemies in from further away, which is extremely useful because dealing with like mob fights is kind of some of the hardest part of a lot of Kingdom Hearts speedruns sometimes. And we're going to be using magnets a lot to handle those. I'm now heading into one of my scariest fights, Trinity Armor. There's a lot of scary fights in this, but Trinity Armor is extremely tough, so I'm going to shut up during this, but just know I'm going to keep trying to get into what's called a command style that I can explain later that will hopefully help me deal a lot of damage to the boss and not die, because that's pretty important.
Now, while Hobbs is focusing because he's got a hard fight, I'm also about to enter like one of the hardest fights in the game, but I'm able to talk while doing it. You just saw me go to the bike shop without a bike voucher. Why did you do that, Keys? You might be asking. You might know why I'm doing it and still ask me why you're doing that, Keys, because that's also a good question. For some reason, there's a flag that when you clear that text box that pops up asking if you want to buy a bike with the B button, you get instant text and it doesn't put the flag back to what your regular text speed is. So you can see that my text is coming up really quickly. It's a huge time saver, but it's also very dangerous for what exactly just happened there. You lose your instant text if you open up any sort of sub-menu, such as go to Pokemon or go to item, or just load up your menu in the overworld. We got Sand Attack. Sand Attack is absolutely awful, especially since I have to Mega Punch some stuff.
Yeah.
There's a very real chance I swap and go back to get instant text. We'll see.
All right, I died. I made a mistake, and I accidentally got into the Thunderbolt command style instead of the Firestorm command style at one point. I'm still going to shut up again and focus on the second attempt because it's really easy to just chain deaths to this fight, but that's okay. I kind of figured I might die in this one. It's really hard.
Okay, I am missing because of Sand Attack. I'm being very stubborn and staying in, though, because we just need to land one more hit. We missed 3 total moves, I believe, which for a Sand Attack really isn't that bad, and I don't think it's going to affect my power points too terribly bad. Having low health through this segment isn't terribly bad either. Something that has not come up yet, but will come up a lot more as the run goes on, is there's a mechanic in this game that we refer to as Red Bar. It's something like slightly under 21% of your health. You get the warning jingle. That warning jingle is actually speed tech, because what it does is it allows you to skip cries and jingles. So that's how you get to hear red runs with really funky Pokemon cries. Like sometimes you'll see a Metapod come out and it sounds like a Ghastly instead. That's because Red Bar is going and it's actively trying to skip that sound bit. It saves a lot of time throughout the run, but it is obviously a risky strat because you're close to death. You'll see it for sure 2 or 3 times in this, because the spots that I can die with it, I would probably save beforehand because having Red Bar saves enough time to justify a reset. But I'm probably not going to go for it in other segments. We shall see. Depends how many times Hobbs dies.
Yeah, I've taken a couple more deaths. The reason I just died there is that there is a lingering hitbox that happens in this fight. Just an invisible hitbox where this big Mega Laser is. And unfortunately, I got hit by it.
Gen 1 missed! No!
Oh, no.
It's fine. It doesn't. It's. If there is a fight to Gen 1 miss, it was this one. It's fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm missing a lot of damage because I keep messing that up.
Oh, that stinks. Okay, so there you go. That happened. We did see a sand attack, but he failed, so it wasn't because of that. But my horn attack accuracy check rolled a 255. I explained rolling 255 is bad, but I never explained why. So the formula is supposed to be if the number is less than or equal to 255, it'll land for 100%. But they coded it on accident to just say less than, not equal to.
Oof, that was
Didn't
a little
miss a
risky
mega
to go
punch
for.
there. I don't want to miss too many mega punches. We do need at least one at the end of this segment, two preferably. There's an emergency strat I can do to get more mega punches if we do run out. I am not going to risk it in a race. What you could do if you didn't have mega punches left is there's a fight where you're supposed to lead mega punch and then do thrash. As mentioned before, thrash can attack 3 to 4 times. The 4th time is a coin flip on whether you get it or not. So there's a fight where you can lead a mega punch and not play the lottery, or you can play the lottery. I don't want to play the lottery.
All right, I'm finally through that garbage fight. I'd say most of the mistakes there were my fault, though. So like, not just all because of the game, but it's kind of hard to do that fight under pressure. However, we also knew going into this that my estimate is a little bit lower than Keys's, which makes sense because it's so likely that I'm going to take deaths like that one. So that's just going to help make the race even closer. I am going to use Mickey's D-Link up here, and I used it wrong, but I wanted to use it to zip me down to the ground here. But it also has 2 sliding dashes, which, as I mentioned before, are really great forms of movement. And then I can use a fire dash to get myself back towards the wall. Now I have a tricky mob fight, but not too much to say about it since I'm not very good at it.
It's kind of funny hearing you explain, like, so I have to do this slide into this tech, into this technique, into this attack, and I'm just like, I pressed A. I pressed A on Mega Punch and hope I don't miss.
Yeah. I definitely went to the wrong spot. That's okay.
All right, so we are done with Nugget Bridge. We still have to make our way up to Bill. So there's still plenty to go in this route before we fight Misty. But that Nugget Bridge went pretty well considering the fact that I did get a sand attack and I did get a Gen 1 miss. We got every range, which is pretty cool. When I say range,
well, that was not...
Damage isn't set in this game unless you use Sonic Boom or Dragon Rage or like Nightshade, like something that does a set amount of damage. Damage is a range between a lower number to a higher number, obviously. A lot of the ranges that I got were like around 50% or so. Oh, well, we did miss the Pidgey range. We missed one range. I lied. We got every other range.
I messed up that fight a bit, but we got through it. You can see the power of the Magneras. It keeps enemies from doing anything. It also allows me to use Thunders on them. And the Magnets also deal damage themselves. They deal damage a little bit differently than how they do in other Kingdom Hearts games as well. I'm now going to use Mickey for slide dashes again. The other thing I'm trying to do with these sliding dashes is I ideally want to hit an enemy with them at the very end of them because it will allow me to roll faster. It's just a weird little quirk.
I really can't get over the fact that Nidoking can learn water moves. Did you know Nidoking can surf?
Yes, I did actually.
It's so silly.
Yeah, it is.
I think I recall very, very old yellow routes where you would teach Nidoking surf.
Yeah, that's so silly. Nidoking's just good.
Nidoking is very good. Good Mon.
All right, I'm now heading into Disney Town where I'm going to do another sequence break, this one being a pretty majorly useful one. It might take me a couple tries because it's pretty tough. But basically, I'm going to head over here. I'm going to put this enemy up in a magnet. I'm going to use Cinderella's D-Link and mess up my menuing a bit. So this might not work. Oh, it did work. Okay, good.
Nice.
So, oops. I pressed the wrong button to open a chest because it's different in this game from Kingdom Hearts 2. Yes, I'm so glad I got the first try. So that got me the ability Super Glide, which if you're familiar with other, Kingdom Hearts games, Super Glide good, it's just real good.
I love Super Glide.
Super Glide good.
Super Glide.
I'm messing up all my menus. But that's okay. I'm just really excited. I really didn't think I'd get that first try. I thought I'd have time to explain it. But the main idea is just that we can do some really cool stuff with Oh, I did this in a weird way. Okay. We did some really cool stuff with Cinderella's Enchanted Step. But go ahead. I'm just doing a mini game now.
You can see right here. Oh, how fun. You can see right here that my text is now normal speed again. So like I mentioned before, if you open your menu in the overworld or if a sub menu of some sort pops up, you lose your instant text. What happened there was we got to level 23 and learned Thrash. And since a yes and no dialogue box came up, we no longer have instant text. I'm going to do something a little different here. I don't want to get instant text before Misty. You usually do in runs, but Misty is a run killer, and I really don't feel like dying to her. So we are going to skip instant text, take a little bit of the time loss, and then save before her. She can kill you in a multitude of ways. You are a ground type now, so water moves bad. But normally at this point, you would see me grab instant text. Then you'd see me kind of do a roundabout thing. Our experience routing is slightly different compared to older runs that some people may have seen. I think the last time that Red was in GDQ was like 2016 or 2017, if I remember. We're doing this fight first because we need the experience, because Starmie at level 24 is darn near impossible, but 25 it is very doable. But Starmie is the star of the show for this split. If Starmie crits you with Bubble Beam, you're probably dead. If you get a speed fall from Bubble Beam, you're probably dead. If you get crit by Water Gun, depending on your health, you're probably dead. If Misty decides to use an X Defend and you don't get a crit or a 4-turn Thrash, you're probably dead.
A lot of ways to die, it sounds like.
My glitchless run is over, Hobbs. I got a sound glitch thing.
Oh, no. Also, I mean badge boosts. badge boost feature. Badge boost feature.
Yeah, it's a feature. It's a feature. One joke that the community used to make all the time was instead of calling this any % glitchless, it would be any % glitchless with like quotes around the less.
Yeah.
Because it is actually physically impossible to do a true glitchless run of this game. Even if you somehow avoid badge boost and everything, when you get to Viridian Rival 2, the sound bugs out.
Okay, I'm doing this a little weirdly, but it's fine. So,
all right, we crit the Goldeen. That's good. Your turn.
Yeah, so I said mob fights are pretty rough, and the main reason is you just got to kind of know where everything spawns so you can catch them as quickly as possible. Me being still kind of newer. Oh my, please. Okay. Me being kind of newer, I'm still trying to nail all of that down. And also having a good idea of like whether all the enemies died or not, and if they did, how do you adjust? Now I can super glide, so that's cool.
I pressed Thrash. Hopefully I don't die. There's the exact routing to get to 25 before Starmie. There really isn't anything to say other than I hope I don't die. Okay, she used an X Defend. That's kind of stinky. Do I crit? Oh, he has 1 HP. Do I get the 4-turn? 4-turn?
4-turn?
I did not get the 4-turn.
No.
All right, we're throwing out the bird to die.
Oh, okay, fair.
And then, yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, because like being confused
we don't lose.
Is...
Yeah.
It turns everything into a 50-50, so...
Starmie's health was so low that I could finish it off with a BM Poison Sting, though, so that felt kind of great.
That's really funny. I'm doing just some mini games. I only needed to get 15 on that first one, and I forgot that I forgot, so I got 68. But this next one, I need to make sure that I beat Hercules. You're going to see me running around on the barrel pretty much all the time because it's the fastest way to take out all of this stuff. It's a mini game. It doesn't really matter. It's basically an auto scroller because it's just on a timer.
Now, see, if this were a real run attempt, we would have had instant text for that. And if that exact scenario happened, if I swapped to the Spearow like I just did, I would lose instant text and have to start it up again. Luckily, I didn't have instant text. And also, this is a race format. I don't really care for, PB pace or not. So I was able to
lost
swap
mine
and
a
be
while ago.
safe. I still technically could, but I would
might be
need the
able to.
run of all runs.
Yeah, I might be able to. Probably not. But that's okay. You learn things from runs that don't PB as much, if not even more, than runs that do PB.
True. There is that's another thing too that I like to recommend to runners is unless the run is absolutely 100% dead, like a death or a missed trick means that you cannot finish the route, I would recommend finishing it out anyway. Because the neat thing that I notice with a lot of people when their runs die is the stress is gone. Like there's no pressure to the run anymore. So you can try out different tricks and techniques that you might not do on a PB pace because you're not comfortable and it does not matter anymore. But also late game practice is really important. And probably the thing that I see a lot of newer runners struggle with the most because they get so used to resetting the early game that they tend to forget what to do at the end. Myself included. Sometimes that will happen where I'm stuck in beginner game heck for so long that I just... There's a gym after Misty? What?
Yeah, very fair. All right, I'm just going to rest my hands for the rest of this and talk about the next fight. The next fight's going to look extremely easy if everything goes well, but it's actually kind of weird. They're these jellyfish-looking enemies. They showed up actually in the last fight we had, and they are the worst. Like I said, goons are the worst. The jellies are also the worst. They're both equally the worst. And the reason being that here on Critical Mode Level 1, if they decide to attack, which they can just do whenever, I should have used Super Glide, but whatever, they will just kill you like almost instantly. They'll just wombo combo you to death. So in this fight, I'm just going to run around and use Magnera, which will kill them instantly because they have very little health. But I normally would be rolling around in between these, at pretty much at the speed of sound. And and that would help keep me safe in between the magnets. However, because Hercules keeps trying to do this team-up attack with me, I can't ever press square because I might accidentally use that team-up attack, which would not only lose me time, but might just get me killed after it. So thankfully, it went fine. But yeah, anytime you see those jellies show up, just know that I am potentially like inches from death at all times.
Now, this is a completely non-important thing about the run going on my side of the screen here, but we did just walk by a sailor before this rival fight. That sailor is, for all memes and purposes, very important. So if you're on a certain frame when you're walking out of the boat, sometimes I'm gonna get rid of my instant text, I guess. Sometimes he'll walk down to you and give you what we refer to as a sailor's kiss. Sometimes he doesn't move at all and he just gives you the cold shoulder, but sometimes he moves at the last second and gives you what I call the sailor's kick. It's horrible. You bonk on him, it's a very minute amount of time loss, but it just feels bad because he not only is he not happy with you and your run is no longer blessed, but he kicked you. That's really rude. Being kicked is rude. Okay, we just lost our instant text there because I swapped out. We got sand attack. I do have high health.
Supposed to die. Thank you. All right, sorry.
I do have high health. On a real run, I would probably still keep trying to land attacks and whatnot, but just for the sake of making sure this run can finish, we just threw away the instant text. No big deal. It's minor time loss.
I know I got a pulsing crystal, so I don't need to go there. Some of the drops that we need have backups. So I was talking about a chest that I could have picked up. Not all of them, though. Like, we did still have to do that grind section earlier at that time. I'm heading into some more mob fights, and pretty soon we're going to be coming up on why I think Ventus is the coolest BBS run, speedrun. Because and I'll also get into at that time why we run on level 1, because I said level 1 critical mode is actually the fastest method. It's not just because it's hard.
I'm not used to not having instant text right now. This feels bad. we would actually be close to off the boat by now. That's how much time we lost. Instant tech saves a lot of time. Because every character that prints on the screen is 1 frame. But with instant text, every character shows up in 1 frame. High risk, high reward at its finest. Now, am I going to get the Sailor's Kiss?
I believe.
Yes! Yes! He's a Keys fan today.
So all I'm trying to do with these magnets is place them such that I can get the most unruly enemies together as much as possible. And fortunately, one of them decided to just stand in this corner. So it's going to have to die on its own. There we go. I was also in the wing blade command style there, which is just because it just happens naturally and it looks cool. Command styles, though, I didn't really talk about them before. When you use specific commands or like kind of grouping of commands, it will put you in, and you build up the bar that's above all of the commands. It'll put you into what's called a command style. That will change the way your basic attacks work as well as your finishers, sometimes in really beneficial ways, sometimes in extremely slow and awful ways. And so we want to use only the command styles that are the most helpful for us, but sometimes you need to use like a second thunder in order to take out a boss that you normally want to just use 1 thunder on, and that'll convert you from Firestorm into Thunderbolt, which is like what happened to me on Trinity Armor a bunch. And
Thunderbolt, you say? I'm getting that suit.
Hey, nice. Yeah, and so those kind of trying to deal with command styles can be really rough. Now I have a fight that I'm just going to run away from and watch it burn to death for a while. So Keys, yeah, you could talk about Thunderbolt or Surge or whatever.
Oh yeah, so I'm going to do my last manip of the game here, actually. I'm going to save in front of this bush. And I'm going to do like a really weird save and quit here. The save and quits are necessary for these manipulations because the hard reset actually resets the like RNG frame, for lack of better words. I just changed the palette to a sepia palette, and that will help me see in Rock Tunnel.
Okay, I got a little scary. So I'm the reason I'm just using Ignite and running from this boss. Ignite deals damage over time. Reusing the command does not stack. It will always just reset the timer for Ignite for how long it'll work. And this boss, if it sees you, does some really scary attacks. So that's why we're just hiding. And now I'm going to finish it off with a shot lock because you're actually invulnerable while using shot locks. And Ignite cannot kill the boss. It can only bring it down to 1 HP.
Now, not only did I change my palette so we can see in Rock Tunnel, which to be clear, when you play the game enough, you know where to go in Rock Tunnel anyway, but I find it's visually pleasing for people who haven't seen the game or don't know where I'm going to be able to see the map. But that also led to perfect cans. Trash cans in this game are trash. But because of the manip that I did, we got guaranteed successful cans.
I didn't know they could be manipped. That's so good.
Yeah, it's so nice. It is so nice. I remember before trash can manip was a thing and the route was in its, I don't want to say infancy necessarily, but like it was definitely an older route. I was on pace for record at the time, and I lost a minute to trash can RNG. So the fact that a manipulation was made for it is pretty exciting.
So I'm going to do a little bit more grinding, just like I did a second ago there, coming up soon. But first, I'm going to use Snow White's D-Link again in order to use the Bashful command, which is actually the command called Warp. What Warp does is it warps the enemies off the screen. It just completely kills them. That might sound really useful, and it's because it sure is. Unfortunately, it is... Where's Bashful? There you are. Unfortunately, is just random. Oh boy, hold on. This got weird. Okay. It is just random whether an enemy dies or not from it. And on top of that, you don't get any experience from it. But we're on level 1. We don't care about the experience. So I just want as many enemies to die as possible. I'm also going to revert at the end of this fight in order to hopefully get my D-Link back for snow, or just get my D-Link back from the drops that the enemies drop. So that way I can use another D-Link coming up soon. So that fight was a little unlucky, but it went mostly okay.
I just taught Thunderbolt, so I'm finally Thunderbolt gang. Let's go.
Nice.
We are approaching the fight that I mentioned before, where having one Mega Punch is very important. She has 2 Oddishes and 2 Bellsprouts that alternate. The old strat was use Thrash and hope you won the coin flip, and if you didn't, hope you don't die. But because this route uses Mega Punch, we just punch the first Oddish, rightfully so, in its smug face, and then Thrash and hope we don't Gen 1 miss, which is a little more favorable.
All right, I'm going to do a little bit more melding. I'm going to use Pulsing Crystal here. This gives me Second Chance and Once More, which are the... oh, no, that's the wrong crystal. Which are the most useful abilities in literally every Kingdom Hearts game that they exist in. And they will prevent me from dying at... if I am above 1 HP, I should not be able to die. I use the word should because every now and then you still do. But basically, Once More will protect me from combo attacks, while Second Chance will protect me from big hits. And now we're going into a super cool boss fight that was a strat found by Bloody Biscuits a while back. This is why level 1 is really cool. I'm going to use Mickey Mouse's D-Link finisher in order to do a lot of damage. I'm hopefully not going to mess it up, but it is pretty easy to mess up, so we'll see.
Going back a little bit to what you said about Warp being useful, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit because anyone who watches Fire Emblem speedruns, the Warp staff is really, really good for saving time, and it warps you off screen essentially, but it's like the opposite. You're not getting rid of your enemies, you're bringing yourself closer to the enemies. You are the nightmare.
Nice. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit here, sorry. Long day, but my strat went well. So if you were looking at the health bar, yeah, Mickey Mouse did a whole lot of damage with that finisher. That's not normal. It's because we're using EXP 0. If I didn't have that ability on, it would not do nearly as much damage. Which means I'm already heading into... Do I need anything here? No. I'm already going to be heading into my final fights, my final world for this character coming up soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm in Rock Tunnel, and you can see why I swapped to this palette. You don't need Flash. You just need Sepia, because the world is Sepia, but the trainers are black, so they stand out.
First, I have a bunch of cutscenes I got to do. I got to skip. When this game came out on PS4, it saved a ton of time over PS3, mostly because of these 7 cutscenes or so that I have to do in a row here. I think it's actually like 13 when you include all the ones between the worlds.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's absurd. I have no more menus left to do. I have everything I need in order to beat the game. What I am going to do in order to beat the game, for the most part, is I'm going to use Peter Pan's D-Link. We have not seen Peter Pan yet, and if you saw, how much damage Mickey Mouse did a second ago, Peter Pan is going to do even more. We are going to melt bosses. Now, the thing is, it is still really hard to set up because you have to get bosses in certain situations. Like with Captain Hook back there, what I had to do was force the boss into an attack that he was just going to constantly attack over and over and not care about what I was doing, so that way I could just keep doing damage to him without him getting out of range. We have to do a kind of similar thing here, but we're going to do it's just going to be a weird technique. I'm going to focus up on this. It's like 2 fights back to back here, and I'll let you all just kind of see what happens with Peter Pan. I'll try to call it out, but you'll want to watch the health bar. First, we're going to put things on the shot.
I had just about the worst fight on the planet that I could have on this Oddish and Bulbasaur girl, but we're fine. We're alive.
We're using a shot like here just to iframe through this attack because it's real bad.
Oops. No.
And now I want to just keep guarding him and building up that command meter. Good. All right, my command meter is built up, so I'm waiting for a specific attack now from the boss. That was not it. Oh no, I got baited. Uh-oh. This is the attack I wanted. Why'd you do it right after? Oh no. Okay, so things are going to be bad from here on out. I'm probably going to die, but we'll see. We'll try to make this work.
See, it's interesting going through this area right now, because typically what top runners want to do is they want that red bar, because there's lots of Mons. They all, for the most part, die in one hit, besides that Oddish, obviously. Which ended up also meaning the Bulbasaur because we got paralyzed and growled. But we would be saving a ton of time. And whether you can hear my side or whether it's Hobbs' audio or not, you can kind of see visually
health bar
just how much faster.
There we go. Okay, somehow I didn't die. Final boss for this character. I'm going to use a balloon letter, which will refill my D-Link gauge so that way I can go into Peter Pan again. I'm going to be building up the command gauge, and I'm going to try to do the exact same thing to the boss. But now I have to build it up in a different way, basically, because of the way that the boss attacks. It's going to be a little tricky, but we'll see. I'm going to take an intentional hit before I use Peter Pan here. That one was less intentional. That's fine. And there we go. And now we have just a little bit, one more sequence to go. It is still easy for me to die in this. I'm going to be doing 4 shot locks in a row, and I have to listen to audio cues. Because the boss can attack you before the screen has actually fully loaded, which is real cool mechanic. I need to just keep parrying his attacks. So that's 2. Get ready on time for the first character, although you're not going to, I'm assuming we're not going to stop the timer. But we are going to take a break after I'm done with this character as well. As long as Keys is in a spot where he can.
I will be in a spot no matter what. So
okay, cool. I didn't know if there were any like manips or something you had to worry about. All right.
Nope, I'm done with manips.
And time for my first character. I golded that split.
Nice.
The only gold split I got in the whole thing. And we're going to go into a break, so I'm going to count us down real fast here, Keys. 3, 2, 1, pause. And yeah, I was only 1:40 off my PB for that character, so that's pretty good. I'm like really happy with that for how many times I died in Trinity armor.
It seems like the estimate might be actually perfect because I'm pretty much at the halfway point of my run. Getting out of Rock Tunnel is pretty much the halfway point, and I just beat the trainer after Rock Tunnel.
Nice. Aqua is a little bit faster character for me, potentially, but also her final boss is significantly easier to die on. Hers is pretty tough, so that is somewhere where it's going to come down to the wire at the end here, I think. With that, we're going to go to a quick break here, folks. We take these breaks to show you don't have to do everything all at once. If you love a game that's a 4-hour RPG or something, and you want to try to learn to speedrun it, you don't have to be doing 4 hours at a time. Just do like a half an hour at a time, an hour at a time, whatever you have time for. It's like going to the gym. Don't feel like you got to go to the gym for an hour and a half or something, right? Like going for 20 minutes is still better than going for 0. And as you practice and learn and get better at the game, you will naturally get faster and be able to squeeze those runs into, more chances. You'll have more time to do it. So we're also going to run some ads during this break. If you don't want to see them, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out with the GDQ costs for the hotel, and also it helps us out here at Hotfix all year long. So with that, we'll be back in a few. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back, everybody, from the break. Once again, we appreciate you sticking through it. If you don't want to sit through ads, you can always consider dropping a sub to the channel, whether Prime Gaming or a regular sub. Not only will you get ad-free viewing and thus listen to cool music during the break instead of seeing ads, but your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support GDQ with a GDQ 2023 cost, including the hotel cancellation costs. So consider subscribing to help out. Hobbs, you beat your first run.
Yes, yeah, I have my second one now, and I think it's going to be pretty close. It's going to be pretty close between us. I'm excited.
Yeah, the Rock Tunnel's about the halfway point for me, maybe slightly further. I do have my timer up for reference, and I'm at about 56:52 before the pause. So yeah, like I got about, on a run that doesn't go south, I got about another 50 to 55 minutes, and that sounds like that's
exactly where I'm going to be.
Yep.
My PB's a 49.39, so
it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I am going to just start my game, and we're going to go from the character selection now that you've all seen, what the character selection looks like. Let me make 100%. Okay, well, hold on, I have to soft reset. I messed up.
All right, well, Hobbs is getting reset up again.
Yeah.
Want to remind anyone, if you're watching us on YouTube from the future, hello from the past, be sure to press the like button, do the usual YouTube shenanigans, hit the notification bell, so on and so forth. But also consider going to twitch.tv/gamesdonthequick. Twitch.tv/GDQ also works. If you want to watch us live, we are live with Hotfix content every day of the week, 7 p.m. Eastern, and on weekends, 1 p.m. Eastern. Very rarely do we not have Hotfix content going for you, if not an outright marathon of some sort.
All right. I just have to wait for this little animation to play, and then I can select my character, and we'll be able to get going. And I'll talk a little bit about Aqua and how Aqua is different from Ven. So, you ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Are you talking about Aqua is really nice because I'm rapidly approaching the largest shopping menu of the game. So.
Sure, yeah, no worries. So we're going to start off with the same fight that Ventus had, these orbs. This is just a terrible fight because you don't have many tools available to you, and the orbs love to move around randomly, and it's a whole mess. But Aqua does thankfully have some commands that are a little bit better. Blizzard and Thunder are not bad. Her finisher is also good unless you whiff it like I just did. And I am going to use her shot lock a little bit whenever the orbs kind of spread out a bunch. It's not very good, but it should help a little bit. Terra and Ventus can help do stuff. But the way that Aqua differs is she's going to make significantly more use of command styles than Ventus did. Her entire kind of big technique for the level 1 critical run is to actually use a command style called Spellweaver. Last orb? Of course it had to run. So, Spellweaver is going to deal massive damage later on. We're actually going to see it as early as the first boss fight of this run. Until then, we have some other stuff we got to take care of. But the way we're going to get into that command style is generally by using magnets and blizzards, trying to avoid using thunders unless we already know that we've done enough of the other commands to get into Spellweaver first. And otherwise, we're going to do a ton of just like using magnets for mob fights and things that we kind of saw with Ven. We are going to have to pick up a lot of items at the beginning here with Aqua in order to do some, sell some of them, and also some others that we're just going to use for melding later. Aqua does have a little bit of a grind session and some RNG involved, but it's not as bad as Ventus. So if you ever wanted to pick up a Kingdom Hearts run, I could say one of the easiest Kingdom Hearts runs to pick up, which is not to say it's necessarily easy, but one of the easiest, is Aqua Critical Level 1. Like, I would say do that even over Aqua Beginner. Would highly recommend.
Just finished my massive shop, but I also have the biggest menu in the game coming up in about 30 seconds, so I will still be quiet for a little bit.
I use Terra's D-Link back there to zip myself to the floor because it's just how it works. It's a little weird. I'm going to do a similar kind of thing with Quick Blitz here. Just going to use it because it leaps over that ledge, kind of get to my like faster falling speed more quickly. And then we're going to do a menu. I haven't killed anything that gives experience yet, so we're going to put on 0 EXP in this upcoming menu. I'm also doing these cartwheels with Aqua. Her cartwheels are kind of, I'd say, one of the better dodging mechanics in the game. So we're going to sell Quick Blitz because we don't need it, Barrier Surge, and this High Potion for just a little bit of extra money. We're going to buy a Sliding Dash for movement, 2 Blizzards, which we're going to use quite heavily, and a Sleep. And then I'm going to equip a lot of that stuff. So we're putting on 2 Blizzards and the Sliding Dash for movement, and we're also going to equip EXP 0.
All right, I finished my menu. I can quickly explain what was going on there. You all saw me do a bunch of different things. For one, you saw me scroll some items up. It makes it so we save a little bit of time whenever we need to actually use those items. So right now I have the Horn Drill TM in slot 2 and X Accuracies in slot 3. Eventually we'll use the Horn Drill TM and everything will be moved up 1 spot. I also used a Super Repel. I swapped some other things around. I taught Rock Slide, so on and so forth. Now, Horn Drill might seem like a weird thing to get if you're not familiar with how these runs work, because it is 30% accurate, and it can one-hit KO if it lands. And in this game, unlike future games, it only works if you are speed tied or faster. Level does not matter, which is why this route really works well. Now, as I mentioned before, there are two things that ignore the 255 rule. There is Swift and there's using an X accuracy. Both the move and the item make it so you don't have an accuracy check at all. So as long as I am faster and I have an X accuracy up, Horn Drill never misses. Another reason why Nidoking is the king of Gen 1.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going into my first boss fight here. I'm going to be using a bunch of commands to try to get into that Spellweaver command style. I unfortunately missed that Blizzard, but it should be okay. Boss just like moving around, which really sucks. And I accidentally queued up. Oh, I might die here. Yep, I just died. That's how easy it is to die in level 1, even the first boss. That's fine because the start didn't go super well anyways. And hopefully we can get a better showing here.
Don't mind me, I'm just trying to quickly take off my hoodie without losing time because I got warm.
But yeah, the boss can kind of move around randomly. And I'm doing a specific set of combos. Unfortunately that didn't land. So now I'm going to use Spellweaver and watch the health bar. This is why we do level 1. So basically your damage gets kind of scaled to a minimum amount on some types of attacks. And so attacks that deal a lot of really small hits are generally going to be the ones that do a ton of damage on level 1. So that's why we were using Peter Pan. Does a ton of really small hits if you use it right. Mickey works the same kind of way. And Spellweaver also works that same way. So Spellweaver is a command style exclusive to Aqua, and we're just going to be using it a whole bunch this run.
Now, we taught Rock Slide in that big menu earlier. The fun fact about Rock Slide is you're not going to see it too much after this. It just... We use it for the ghosts. That's it. If we could learn Dig, we would never get Rock Slide. We'd never get Rock Slide, and we'd never teach Earthquake, because Dig in Gen 1 is also 100 power. It's just a 2-turn move.
Yeah, but getting Earthquake takes time, too, so it's like, it would save you that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to use Rock Slide. In this case, right now, it doesn't look too bad, especially since we got a full heal. But there are many times where you enter this in red bar, and you miss Rock Slide on the first fight, and it nightshades you, and you die, and you cry.
All right, I am now using Spellweaver on just a random mob of enemies and getting a whole lot of drops out of them. What those drops are, and I'm not kidding, are ingredients to make ice cream. I am not kidding. Ice cream in this game is extremely handy because certain types of it can put you into specific command styles. We are going to make a bunch of ice cream to allow us to enter Spellweaver whenever we want, as well as get to the Spellweaver finisher instantly.
Oh, no.
Oh, I was supposed to do
I accidentally double input there, so I swapped the wrong item with the wrong item. That's fine. That's just minor time lost.
Poison and Fission for Raga. Okay. So everything I just put in my deck is mostly for the fight that's coming up next, the next boss fight. Oops. I'm going to use another one of those D-Link zips to the ground here. Whoop. Really cool. And Terra's D-Link also has a sliding dash on it, which is really handy for movement. Didn't quite hit that enemy, but that's fine. I want to make sure I'm on sleep when I enter this fight. And if I do everything right, I can defeat this mirror extremely quickly. It's pretty tough, though. So we'll see. I'll do my best.
I believe...
Yeah, it's a whole lot of precise attacks. So we're going to sleep, Blizzard, 2 attacks, Poison, Fission Faraga, 3 aerial attacks. We're then going to sleep again. Blizzard. I might have messed it up. Poison and slide dash into a Spellweaver. The boss will get knocked down. Maybe it'll die. Hey, I got it.
Nice.
And I actually gold split.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I missed that in my PB, so cool.
Meanwhile, I'm finally using the first example of X accuracy horn drill. Feels nice. Yeah, there's some little things here and there that I haven't mentioned. I feel kind of bad that I messed up the menu earlier, but there's little optimizations you can do with menus. You might have noticed right there when I used my X accuracy, it was pretty instantaneous. So you can actually buffer a lot of inputs. A lot of the frame perfect stuff in this game isn't truly frame perfect because you have like 4 to 8 frame windows for a lot of it. So right there, I was holding down the whole time and then mashing A, and it got me to slot 2 of my bag super duper quick.
All right, I'm gonna sell some stuff to give me some money. I will also sell all my potions and high potions. I want to buy 4 magnets and I believe 3 thunders. Where's the thunder? Where are you? There you are. I did that menuing really slowly, but that's okay. Keys was talking about good menuing. I wanted to show you bad menuing.
Oh, they've seen bad menuing on my end this whole time. Don't worry. I accidentally chose the wrong move there.
Oh, sorry. Real quick, I'm going to do another one of those little sequence breaks that involves attacking something above me. Uh-oh, and I messed it up, which is real scary. Once you mess it up once, I'm probably just going to die. Oh my god. Okay, I have not died yet. It's not over, because I need to go over here and grab this item. Oh, and thankfully the arrows did not hit me. I'm going to jump in a little bit of a weird way. All right. Please carry on.
I was just saying, I accidentally chose the wrong move there. You want to Thunderbolt twice in that fight and then Thrash because the Raticate is actually a range with Thrash, but I wasn't punished.
Nice.
Which means something bad is going to happen later, and I don't have any right to complain. Any.
All right, I am using a whole bunch of magnets on everyone's favorite thing, goons.
Yay.
I mentioned they were really bad when I was playing as Ventus. They're still really bad. They're actually worse. This fight is not too bad, although one of them just kind of stayed away there, losing me some time. But the next fight is real rough because it's super long and extremely easy to die, even easier than this first one. And if you die, you have to go all the way back to the start of this room or the next room and watch a really long cutscene. So hopefully, yeah, we go back to this point if I die. So hopefully it doesn't happen because goons suck. They're not cool.
I'm in Silphco. This is usually a pretty scary place on high-end runs because you desperately want to try and get red bar at some point in time in this and maintain it for essentially the rest of the game. I am not doing that for the purposes of this race.
Very fair. Oh, and I'm dead. That's how easy it is. I got hit by one arrow that I could not see.
Unfortunate.
Thankfully, if I am going to take a death in this, I would prefer it to be earlier, and that was kind of earlier, so. But yeah, now I have to watch this cutscene again, unfortunately.
It's actually kind of wild because I'm someone who's ran this game a ton in the past, but not recently. And I remember Silphco, like I said, it's still a scary place for top-end runs because you want the time save from setting up red bar, but it was almost completely necessary to get better than a 150 time. Whereas the route has developed so much in the past 4 to 5 years that you can play it pretty safe. Like my current run right now actually does stand a chance of being a PB, even with some of the safety stuff that I did. I doubt it will be. Like that's how good the route is that it's still in talks of possibly being a PB.
Mm-hmm. So there's some movement I would have liked to do here, but I unfortunately couldn't because I used a sliding dash at the wrong time. So we're just going to go around the slow way. Not a big deal. I'm going to pick up that Wellspring Crystal to use later. And now we're heading in here. Unfortunately, I am lower health, and there's not really anything I could do about it.
Okay, so I was actually kind of hoping that this would happen because I wanted to talk about this interaction. So I used an X accuracy, and then Pidgeot used Sand Attack. That does not matter. X accuracy removes the concept of accuracy. So even though I'm -1 accuracy, it does not matter. These moves will not miss.
Okay, cool. I am out of the scary part with goons. So we had the kind of faster death, so not too bad. Slide and dash over this gap here. And I'm going to pick up this chest as well for a little bit of safety. Just in case I don't get an item drop later. We're going to activate this crank with a magnet because that's how it works. And
it's science.
Yeah. And thankfully, I saw my commands level up. Normally, I would have to do a little bit of grinding at the bottom of this ramp here. But because I saw the commands level up, I know that I actually don't have to at all. And the reason that likely is because I did take that death. And if I use the retry command, I actually keep the experience from the death. If I were to use the continue command where it puts me in the room beforehand, I would not keep that experience. And it would be slower. So there's no reason to do that in this context. I'm going to do the little bit of farming I need to do with Aqua. I just want one fleeting crystal to drop here. We're doing the same thing we did with Ven in terms of using Grumpy. Unfortunately, I'm not getting it. I would like two, but one is minimum. So I'm going to have to leave the world and come back in order to get my D-Link back. And then try again. This is just bad luck, unfortunately. It's the way it is, but this is the only time where it like really, really matters for Aqua.
Well, I am trying to get a future red bar set up for later because red bar is, you can still die in it, but like it's relatively safe, -1 or 2 fights, and I would like to show just how much time it saves. I will not go out of my way to get it, though. I'm going to roll with the punches. If we get it, that's cool. If not, then we're playing it safe.
All right, I got the one that I needed, the one fleeting. I would have preferred a second one so that I could save some time later, but one is what I needed for now. It's so that way I have 3 for all of these melds I'm doing. I'm making Magneras and Thundaras. You saw earlier why that is so useful. Which is really good for mob fights and also going to be good for getting us into Spellweaver. I think I put on high jump here. Yeah. I'm now heading into a really tough fight that also has some randomness to it as well. Basically, I'm going to try to use Spellweaver twice on this boss. And if I'm successful, I can potentially defeat her. I could defeat Dragon Maleficent before she flies away. But it kind of requires a little bit on luck, and I have to have really good timing with my thunders here, with all of my commands, actually. I don't think I'm going to get it. So now I'm just going to hope that maybe she gives me a good pattern. Okay, I didn't get it, and I also didn't build up the Spellweaver. So now it's just kind of random whether I die or not. Basically, I'm going to use a reaction command to land on Maleficent's back, and the game can just kill me here. Okay, it didn't quite kill me, but I'm not going to be able to finish off the fight here because I don't have the Spellweaver finisher lined up, so now it's still kind of random on whether I die or not.
Oh, I didn't take my select. No. All right, well, that's a terrible menu there. I did not swap my menus, my items around because I failed to press select. I thought I did, but...
Whew, so it's pretty slow, but I didn't die.
Snorlax is attacking me in a grumpy rage.
Oh, no.
I just played a flute, and he's very unhappy. I don't blame him. If some random person just came up to me while I was
Woke you
napping and
up.
just start playing a flute.
Oh no, Keys, I should have gotten more water during the break.
Oh no.
All right, off to Radiant Garden I go, or as some may know it, Hollow Bastion.
I'm making my way to Safari Zone because we need Surf, and then after that we fight Koga.
Nice. I'm going to do that same Enchanted Step thing I did earlier as Ventus, but this time I'm also going to kill some of the enemies here. Yeah, let's just use the Thunders. I did not see whether my commands leveled up there, which is unfortunate. Here's the Fleeting Crystal I could have skipped if I got lucky earlier.
I hope everyone liked Thrash because it's now gone.
No, but Thrash, my beloved.
We now have Earthquake, so, you know, arguably way better.
Needed to level up some commands there, and now I'm going to do a fight that I'm really bad at, because it's another mob fight where you just need to stand in specific spots and use magnets. And I'm not good at all the specific spots. We are going to try to finish the fight with Spellweaver. So one of the downsides of the way the commands work in this game is that if you get hit while you're casting one, it will put that command on cooldown, even if it didn't actually go off. So now we're going to use a magnet into Spellweaver and hope everything comes into the magnet, and they did. Good.
I spent money to bike through the Safari Zone.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Hey, to be fair, you also, you know, looted the ground.
Yeah. I'm gonna loot the ground of gold teeth, and then also win a fabulous prize of HMO3 Surf. Pretty nice. $500 is actually a scam for them.
Okay, I am putting on Mind Square, which is what I just grabbed out of that chest. It drops a bunch of mines on the ground and can hit enemies with large hitboxes pretty well. It's going to be useful. I also put on Ice Barrage, which is going to make just a big, like, ice attack, basically. And I melded another Thundara. All those fleeting crystals I had to collect along the way have been for magic hastes, so that way my magic abilities come off cooldown faster because they are really good. They're the magnets, the thunders, all that good stuff. So now I'm heading into Trinity Armor, which is still really scary and really tough, but it is a lot better than it is with what's his name, Ven. So hopefully, okay, this may have been an ill-advised Spellweaver. Okay,
I'm gonna spam Earthquake now. Earthquake, good.
okay. Need to just keep blocking. I did not mean to dodge there, but we're fine. So now I'm just going to use a bunch of magnets and stuff. I have my next Spellweaver built up. I can stand under the boss like this and be fine. Now I'm going to use Spellweaver and hope that I can kill the boss. And there we go. We didn't die to Trinity Armor on Aqua. Good.
Nice. I'm gonna save before this fight because if we get crit by Hypno, then we can die. But this will be like the last save I do for a little while. Something that I didn't touch up on that's a pretty basic Pokemon mechanic. The reason why I was like saying that I wish that we got Dig and the reason why I'm excited for Earthquake is Pokemon has this concept where whatever your Pokemon's type is, if you use moves of the same type, you get a same type attack bonus. Stab for short. You do 50% more damage. So Earthquake's base power is 100. So in Nidoking's hands, it is 150. It is not a slouch of a move.
All right, Mickey's D-Link once again to zip me down and then use slide and dashes to cut across. Same thing I was doing before as Ventus. It's funny, as Terra doesn't actually do that. It's just Aqua and Ventus, but...
We are on Koga now. Koga's a pretty easy fight. Just Earthquake everything.
All right.
And call it good.
So we're on Vanitas now. Vanitas is a pretty easy fight. You just magnet everything and call it good. Except for when he does this. Oh no, this is just random. Okay, we're good. Oh, except I think I messed up. So yeah, this is gonna be real bad. Oh, no, we got into Spellweaver. Should be okay. I just need to get him in another magnet. All right, good. Good. Now we should be fine. So yeah, it's the same thing that I was talking about before with Vanitas on Ventus's side, where he can just dodge out of your attacks, but if we can keep him stun locked like this, then it works great. One more magnet, and then I'm going to Spellweaver, and he should be dead.
I was gonna meme and be like, oh no, I died, but this was very much on purpose. So Wheezing self-destructed, and I died. But that's fine, because if you use a rare candy when you're fainted, you'll get some health back. And you know what that'll do for me? Give me the freest red bar you will ever get in this game.
I love that strat. Like,
It's such a good strat.
It's great. All right, I'm heading into Deep Space 1. We're going to split up these next few worlds a little bit, rather than just going to a world and doing it until it's complete. Deep Space and Olympus Coliseum I'm going to split up, and that's because of those ice cream ingredients that I talked about earlier. We need a few more in order to get the ice cream we want, and both Deep Space and Olympus have ingredients for us. So we're going to get those, and then we'll use them. We'll actually get the ice cream from Disney Town.
Ice cream sounds good right now.
Ice cream always sounds good to you.
It's true. I'm lactose intolerant, but that won't stop me. I can't read.
All right. In this fight, we just use the magnets and thunders on each wave. You just kind of go in a circle, and then that builds up Spellweaver perfectly, so we use it for the last wave. You're going to see a whole lot of Spellweaver for the rest of this run. Like, that is going to be used a lot. I need to go right here, and then I'm going to use Mickey.
We're surfing to Cinnabar Island right now, where not our next gym leader will be, but we do have to do the mansion to get the secret key to access Blaine. Something that you might have noticed is every time I've used Dig, I always end up in Celadon City. I did not touch up on this earlier, but when I used the escape rope at Bill's house, I ended up in Cerulean City Center. So wherever you last used a center is where you teleport with Dig or an escape rope. Different from other games where all you have to do is simply enter the center.
Okay. I'm now in an unironically very scary minigame that we affectionately refer to as Gotcha Take That. And if the sound could be thrown up on mine for a second, you'll see why. And hey, you also just saw why it's scary. So these enemies have to be hit like kind of a couple of times before they will get popped up into the air if they're charging you. And they just deal a bunch of damage. So I try to move towards the wall, so that way it's less likely that I'll get hit, because I can't get hit from behind that way. But they keep not letting me set up is the main problem. And then sometimes you end up bouncing into these, and these suck. Yep. Now I've actually been pretty lucky and not died in this minigame in a while, so I'm paying for it here.
All right, I did another decently sized menu there, and I did one prior to this. We taught Surf to Squirtle and also move some stuff around. Now we just taught Strength to Squirtle, and we taught Blizzard. Blizzard might sound like a terrible move if you're used to modern Pokemon mechanics, but Blizzard in Gen 1, for some reason, is 90% accurate.
Yeah, it's
really
great.
Strong move.
Okay, so I'm very likely going to die again, but I'm trying to get... Okay, 1 HP orb will actually fully heal me in this minigame, so if I can take out an enemy, then I can run up to where they drop the HP. But yeah, the enemies here are being very aggressive to me. You kind of want them to be like semi-aggressive so that way you can target them more easily. But if they're too aggressive, then, you just die like I've been doing. Or if they come up next to you and then they get a start an attack, it's the worst.
Now, despite the compliments, I just paid Blizzard. Blizzard, like I said, is 90% accurate. I'm going to save before this fight, because if I die within the next 2 fights because I miss a Blizzard, that'd be kind of lame.
All right, one enemy left. There we go. Out of that stupid minigame. So I now have a group of enemies that aren't technically required, except they are because I need to use the teleporter in this room, and I cannot use it if these enemies are here and I'm like in combat, basically. They're all dead, right? Yeah, okay.
All right. As long as we don't Gen 1 miss or miss Blizzard, then we are done with Erica. We have Blaine and Sabrina after that, and then Giovanni, and then we're on our way to the end.
Nice, nice.
All right, no miss on Blizzard, so we're very, very likely to win. 254 and 255 to win from here.
I've never seen you lose those odds except frequently.
It literally happened once this race already.
All right, so I'm going to do a save warp here where I leave the world and then rejoin it in a different spot. Basically like using dig.
Hey.
Yeah.
Topical.
So I leave, I come back at a different save point, and then I'm going to go back here to where some specific enemies are going to spawn that will give me ice cream ingredients. So I'm going to use Magnet and Thunder on them twice, and that will give me enough ingredients for all of the ice cream that I'm going to need later. And then we're going to go to Olympus Coliseum to start our visit there.
All right, so because of how I'm mashing, it's going to look like that every answer is yes. But you can use B to register as a no. A, B, 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 A, B. Abab.
All right, this is more of the same in terms of making sure that I just go to where enemies are going to spawn and use a magnet on them. And then around here should be where I can Spell Weaver, I think. I did not catch everything. Okay, we're good.
I hope it happens because it's a really funny thing. Gym leader AI is very weird. AI in this game in general is really weird. There's a chance that Blaine tries to use a super potion on his full health Growlithe.
Yeah, he loves doing that, dude.
It's so funny.
All right, we got more ingredients. I'm gonna head in here, and we are going to do 10 rounds of fights at the Olympus Coliseum. I have specific things I'm gonna be doing for each of them. The first one, I'm gonna use Magnera into an Ice Barrage, say my notes. Oh, or I'm gonna die. We're just gonna do that first. Just get slapped twice and you're dead. There we go. So now Magnera into an Ice Barrage should take out the enemies. We're going to use Magnera into Mind Square for the next one because the enemy has a fairly large hitbox. There we go. And then for the next 6 rounds, or sorry, for the next 7 rounds, we're going to be using magnets into various numbers of thunders, 1 or 2. And on the last one, we're going to be using Spellweaver, mostly because it'll keep us safe.
This is one of the times in the run where the movement seems kind of quirky. So the last gym we're going to before Giovanni is Sabrina, and our hub is still Celadon. It's actually faster to bike from Celadon than it would be to fly. All right, I did die here on an attempt recently because I Gen 1 missed on Venomoth, and Venomoth used Psybeam. And at 13 health, I don't feel good about my odds of surviving. I could have saved, but what are the chances?
Well, 1 out of 256, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last round is with those jellies that I said are super dangerous. Technically, the fastest thing I could do would be to use 2 magnets and catch everything in them, but the safest thing to do is to use Spellweaver. I unfortunately have to wait for the whole animation to finish, but I cannot be damaged while I'm using it, so that's
Good
why we
news,
do it.
Hobbs.
Big menu time.
255 out of 256. I win that fight.
Nice. You did it. You beat the odds.
I beat the odds. I'm going to do a really quirky movement here, too. You might have noticed I've been digging out of some gyms. They count as dungeons, and you can dig out of dungeons. You can dig out of here, too, but I'm actually going to dig after I take this teleporter. It saves on animations. It's Gen 1.
Barrier. Okay. I believe I have bought all the things I need to buy, and now I'm leaving the world for now. And we're going to go buy some ice cream, or we're just going to be given some ice cream because we hand them the ingredients. So, Keys, what do you think... what flavor of ice cream do you think they're going to give me here?
Sea salt, because it's Kingdom Hearts?
No, obviously it's Fabra Cadabra.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you heard me.
Fabra Cadabra. The world's most fabulous magician in ice cream form.
So barrier, yeah, it didn't matter which one I used. Okay. Barrier and Asuna with a pulsing crystal will give me second chance, and I'm gonna get once more with these Magneras. Hey, we talked about why those are good earlier. And now I'm going to equip Fabricadabra 3 times using poor menuing, and then a poison, 2 ignites, Magnega, and a sliding dash. And I'm going to also put on renewal barrier.
So I saved there because I can die in this fight, but the time save for red bar here is so good that it's worth resetting IMO. Lear is perfect. You can die to this fight, but it's not very likely. His Machoke can Karate Chop, which will kill you. Low Kick, which will only kill you with a crit. He can Lear, which does nothing to you. He can Focus Energy, which makes his life worse. And he can also use an X Defend, I think. So... This fight is the last big wall before the Elite Four. So I'm glad we got through that. We get to maintain our red bar. I have died to every single PB pace I've had since I came back to this game. If it made it this far, I died to him. Every time.
To Giovanni? I was...
No, to the Karate King
who
I just fought.
Right,
Yep.
okay, yeah.
Karate King mean.
I'm doing a mini game. It's called Fruit Ball. It's boring, but it is possible to lose, and you have to win it. So I'm trying. Once I get enough points, then I can put the controller down for a little bit. Unfortunately, each character has their Disney Town mini games. Ventus's the ice cream beat that we saw is the best because it's the shortest by far. Aqua's is the worst because it is the longest. And Terra's exists. It's at least a tiny bit more fun. It's Kingdom Carts.
Kingdom Cards.
Yeah, which they didn't call Kingdom Carts because missed opportunity.
Of course.
All right, I should have enough points. So I'm going to set this down. It's almost enough time where I'd consider running down and getting some water, but I'll be fine. So this is going to get pretty close, I think. Once we figured if I am finishing Deep Space 2 around the time that Keys is starting Lorelei, then that would be pretty close. But that's assuming I don't take any deaths, and it's going to be extremely easy for me to take deaths in the final fights.
So, if you've noticed, we haven't gotten TMs from gym leaders. Our bag is curated to be at max, which is 20 spots. Just so we don't get extra. Yeah, exactly. Just so we don't waste our time with item jingles and whatnot. Now, Giovanni just took that very personally. As soon as he realized I didn't have space, he just turned around and yeah, I heard Enya playing in the background.
All right. I will say in all stories, I don't mind this minigame because it is a nice break from an otherwise very hectic series of runs. And it comes in like right before you go through the final kind of boss rush for Aqua, and then you go through 2 more episodes. So it's just, the pacing works out well. But when you're spamming Aqua runs, the pacing is not as great if you have to do if you have to do Fruit Ball multiple times. Yeah, we're gonna head back to the deep space now. Sorry, go ahead. I got nothing.
Something I haven't touched up on yet is a lot of the like key trainers in this game have quote unquote good AI. So as you saw there, even though I'm very, very almost dead, Pidgeot kept spamming agility. While psychic moves are super effective against poison types. So the AI is like, that's the move. That's the one that'll kill him. So that's why I was able to set up for free with no health. Pretty silly, this first generation of Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. All right, slide and dash for movement there. And then we are going to fight Gantu. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Gantu, I think. You're going to see the power of Fabricadabra. I'm going to pop one here at the beginning. I'm going to cartwheel forward and pop another one. And that's going to put me into Spellweaver with the finisher fully charged. So I'm going to use a poison for a little bit of extra damage over time. And then I'm going to Spellweaver. This won't quite kill the boss, so we're going to have to run away and hide so he doesn't attack us. And then we're going to throw 2 more. And we're going to use Spellweaver. And as long as Stitch has done even a tiny bit of damage, he should be dead. There we go. I got a gold split.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did I.
Nice. Mine was, I think, by less than a second.
Mine was by several minutes because I didn't die to the Karate King.
Yo. So good. I peaked my mic. All right. Over to Olympus Coliseum now. So I'm going to be on Ignite before I enter this because I'm going to fight Zach. And I need to use Ignite, and then I'm going to use Fabricadabras again to use Spellweaver, and we're going to just repeat that a couple times. The good thing is Spellweaver will also often cause enemies to kind of get knocked up and stunned like that. Not always, but a lot of enemies, it does do that too, so it's really handy.
I'm just about to enter Victory Road. There are no fights here unless I mess up. Just a bunch of older puzzles.
So I would wager if I am really like matching my PB, I'm probably slightly ahead of you, but it is extremely easy to die on the final boss for this run, and also on the boss I'm about to do.
All yours, Frosty.
So I have to fight both Hades and Ice Titan here, and I want to ideally damage both of them at the same time, but Hades has more health, so he's more important. Oh, I couldn't see. I heard it too late. Yeah, so died once. Every time I retry, by the way, I am still losing the ice cream that I used. It's not likely that I'll run out of ice cream, but it is possible, because I don't get, like, much more than I need.
Don't run out of ice cream. Ice cream's good. Delicious.
Okay, that sucks. All right. Spellweaver here. Now I need to run and really hope I don't get hit out of this. So the camera loves to spin around on you in this game too, which is really frustrating. Need to catch Hades here. Good. Hopefully Ice Titan should die from this, so it's not an issue. And now Hades is still alive, but I can just throw a little bit more ice cream. He's probably going to DM. Yeah. So I can't attack him while he's doing this. So I'm just going to back really far away because I can't damage him. And then we're going to hope he doesn't do it 2 times in a row, and I'm just going to start Spell Weavering right away because he only had a little bit of health left. All right. All I have now are Neverland and then the Keyblade Graveyard, the final world. This is actually going to be really close, Keys.
It is really close. It's kind of cool.
So Neverland, I'm going to also do my last menu of the game. After a little bit, at least.
I'm doing a little bit of showing off here. If you frame perfect press up or down while pushing this boulder, then not only do you face the wrong way when the boulder moves to the left, but you move the dust particles. We call it swag boulder. It saves no time, and in fact, if you weren't the right level for the rappel, you actually double your chances of getting an encounter.
But
I'm picking up this emergency full restore. Of course, I do it every run.
Yeah.
When I had the yellow record way back when, I did it in that run too, even though that could for sure produce an encounter. That full restore you normally don't pick up for the sake of safety. I'm going to pick it up just in case. We are going to deposit Squirtle, and we're going to deposit Paris. And the reason why we're doing that, but not Spearow, is because Lorelei has a weird mechanic where on turn 2, she always uses rest. So on turn 1, we're going to send out the bird, and the bird is not the word.
I'm going to use Mickey Mouse here for more sliding dashes, and I'm going to try to get hit by multiple of these in a row, back to back, or I can fall all the way back down. Yeah, I'm no good at this, but that's fine. Canceling my height a little bit there with a swing, and then we're going to do a menu, which is to put another Ignite on here, and put Cure on over Slide Dash, because I don't need it anymore. Oops, I don't want to shortcut that. And so now I just have a bunch of Ignites, a Magnet, and Cure, and the Ice Cream. And the reason I have it like this is because we are going to fight Vanitas again here for the second out of 3 times. And I'm going to do a lot of counting. I'll just count out loud just for interest's sake. But I'm going to do a lot of counting of whether certain Ignites land or not. Because he has a flinch counter. So there's 1, 2. That one didn't land. I don't know if that counted. I don't think it did. 3.
All right, Lorelei down.
Nice. 5. Was that 4 or 5? I think it was 4, actually. 5. 6. 7. All these are just random, whether they actually land or not. 8. 9. Ooh, I accidentally messed up my menu. All right, so now I'm attacking the boss while he's underground here. Whew, okay, I got a little scary. But yeah, after 10 flinches, Vanitas will dive underground like that. And that dive attack is really important. We need him to do that in the last fight with him. It was actually the move that we wanted to see for Ventus in order to use Peter Pan on him. And yeah, once he dives underground, you can actually hit him with the Spellweaver even though he's underground. And even though we couldn't see the health bar, it does a lot of damage and finishes him off.
All right, so I did something kind of risky there. We would have died to a slam crit, but I was not punished. I was supposed to menu before this fight, but I did it in the fight. Because I have no respect for Onyx.
I'm in this world to skip 2 cutscenes. And then I'm heading to the Keyblade Graveyard, my final world. I need to cartwheel next to a bunch of tornadoes that all have tons of enemy spawns in them if I ever get caught by one. And weirdly, the way that you avoid it is by getting really close to them. So it's pretty scary, but hopefully I don't end up in any encounters because I will pretty much have to take a death or take a really slow fight.
Yeah, I saved before Agatha because Agatha is a troll fight. She's not necessarily a hard fight, but a lot of bad can happen. I'm going to be saving before the next 3 fights because they are my last 3 fights, and it would be a shame to die that way. Fuse Ray is very scary. We broke through the first one. Okay. Ideally, we're no longer confused next turn. Otherwise, this is a problem. This is exactly why I saved. Still confused. Lost the coin flip. Not good. All right, no longer confused. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, we took 1 hit. So we beat Agatha minus a Gen 1 miss.
Nice. So you've got 2 fights left?
I've got 2 fights as soon as Agatha's done.
Agatha's done. Guess what I've got left?
2?
2 fights.
Oh, man, this is so close.
Yeah, so I have to fight Braig first, which should hopefully not be too bad, but then Final Vanitas is extremely tough. And also Braig can still be mean. I'm going to be using Peter Pan again here because it's real good for Braig. Oh, I was supposed to guard that. It's fine. There we go. So I need to build up the finisher by being in the air and using a barrier on his shots, ideally in the air. Don't have to be in the air. This is not good because he's giving me kind of quick patterns in terms of how many shots he's firing, and I need him to fire a lot more shots than that. Okay, good. We have Sword Bill lined up. And there's Peter Pan finishing off Braig. I have 1 fight left.
I am saving before Lance because Lance can kill me.
Yeah, this fight will probably kill me. This fight is very easy to die on, so it's a matter of can I finish this before Keys finishes his. So I want to use Mickey's reaction command here in order to deal a bunch of hits. Because now that I have Spellweaver ready, I just want Ventus to use a dive attack.
All right, so the only thing that could really kill me in that fight was if Gyarados Hydro Pump crit and he missed, which is both good and bad. I had perfect health, so if he were to hit me but not crit me, then I would have red bar for champion. But I do not have that, and I'm not going for that. That's ludicrous. I'm 1.5 fights away. I'm not.
All right, I got the more expected but slightly worse pattern. Oh, I might be dead here. Oh, man. So I need him to just DM again. Okay, get ready on time. I think I might be good. And time.
Nice.
Oh, it came down clutch on the final fights. I had 1 HP left, Keys.
You know what? Since the race is over, I'm not even saving before this. I'm just going in.
Are you done with Lance already?
Yep.
Oh
I'm
my
on
gosh.
champion in like 5 seconds.
Oh, wow. This really got close.
It was very close.
For 2 wildly different games and categories. For anybody curious, I was about 3 minutes over my PB. And like I said, I knew that we knew going in that I had the slight estimate advantage if I matched PB, but that it was more likely that I was going to be kind of further off of it from deaths and stuff. So got a little lucky here and there, played well here and there, and it worked out. But man, this is about as close as we could have hoped.
All right, minus a miss menu, I can't die from here, so I am.
Yeah.
I am good. I still have another like minute and a half or so because of the animations.
Yeah. Animations
yeah, so they
the
force animations on for the final fight, which I actually think is really cool. But it is slow. And since I'm not in red bar, not only are we hearing all the cries and jingles, but the moves move a little slower.
Yeah. And of course, time is like all the way at the like Hall of Fame, right? So
yep.
Yeah, you also just a little bit of walking. But man, yeah, can't get much closer than both on the final fight.
Mm-hmm. And while this did go slow, and it wasn't PB 2 minutes ago, but this is the best time that I've gotten since I've gotten back, because I have been playing for PB, so I haven't been playing terribly safe, but because I played safe, this was a pretty easy finish.
Ooh, I'm just like, I loaded the stream up. I'm looking over at yours now. Oh man.
All right, I just have a bunch of mashing I got to do, and then I am done. Probably another like minute.
Nice. Yeah, they just got to talk forever, huh? Well, we're not going to quite be done yet here, folks. We are going to take another break, but then we're going to come back. And what we thought would be a fun, since we were going to have a little bit of extra time here, is we want to like kind of walk you all through our process of relearning these games. Or for me, like some of the categories I was learning was the first time. Like I had not run Aqua before. So we're actually going to show some of our notes. We're going to talk a little bit about what that process has been like, and hopefully show you all like that even if you do want to go and practice and learn all the strats, there are really accessible ways to approach it. So I'll wait. So
it's the boy, the Nido King. Now, the real MVP of this entire E4 run was this Spearow, who is no longer with us.
Aw.
The only way that Lorelei strat fails is if she Gen 1 misses on your bird. And I've had that happen before and it hurts. It feels bad.
Oh, no.
All right, and time.
Nice. GG, dude.
GG. I'm glad that, I mean, I wish I could have shown off the extended minute for the bird, but I'm glad that I got Mount Moon first try. And this was not counting the self-destruct purposeful death. This was a deathless run.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, I had to send out a couple of HM friends here and there, but I mean, like actual, like
wipe. You know, had to reset. Yeah. Which is not like that run, because of the whole red bar strat, is not a very safe run. Even with saving, you're still you'd lose time if you have to wipe and reset to the save. So that is really impressive. Mine were not deathless.
That would be incredibly impressive. I would have quit. I would have been like, you are the best. GG.
But yeah, we're going to go to a quick break here, folks. But don't worry. Like I said, when we come back, we're going to talk a bit more about the process of learning these runs, what we did, show some notes so you can see the kind of differences in notes we're using or taking ourselves. And and hopefully that'll be a little interesting kind of way to wrap this up for you all. And we are not done with Kingdom Hearts versus Pokemon. We're doing a whole month of it, maybe more. We'll see. So if you enjoyed this, we're on every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. But like I said, we'll be back in a few after this break.
Welcome back, everybody, from the break. We appreciate you sticking through. Before we proceed with talking about how we got back into these games and learned them for the race today, I just want to remind everyone that once we're done talking, Hotfix is not done. We have How to Train a Speedrunner immediately after this with Signs of the Sojourner, which I probably horribly butchered, but that's what it looks like.
Sounds
I
right
hope
to
that
me.
is.
I don't know.
It looks and sounds right to me. Also want to remind everyone real quick, Frost Fatalis 2023 is pretty close, and the prize submissions are open, so you can go to gamesandquick.com for more info or use the chat command !prizes to submit your prizes and figure out all the other information for that. Who's starting, you or me?
I can start.
Okay, well, before you start, if anyone's just now tuning in, you just missed the race. It was a very close race. JHobz pulled it out in the end. We both did pretty well, I would say. I'm happy with how the run went for me. It sounded like you nailed some real gamer moments yourself. And since we have some time left for TFS, we're going to go over kind of our learning process and how we learned or relearned these games to do the race for you all today.
Yeah, we thought this would be just a fun, interesting kind of aspect of speedrunning you don't always get to see, especially on like the GDQ channel, unless you are a big fan of how to train a speedrunner. And this would be also a good, kind of tie into that. So what I'm showing here first is the set of notes. So what I tend to do, one of the best ways I found to learn runs, especially learning runs like RPGs, like Kingdom Hearts, Pokemon runs would be in the same kind of vein, is I found that I need to kind of take my own notes. Sometimes I want to go in a bit slapdash and be able to get to a run faster, and I'll just use notes from other folks, but that doesn't always work for me, especially in a real-time game. Works better in like a turn-based RPG, but that doesn't always work for me. So I kind of have to take notes, because in order to write notes for yourself about what to do, it's a lot harder to do that if you don't understand fully what you need to do. You have to be able to explain it to yourself, basically. So my notes are kind of way more detailed than they kind of should be when you're doing a run. And the main reason is I kind of write them from the perspective of somebody making notes for the community or for myself if I were to come back and look at this 3 years later and don't remember any of the strats. And I want to be able to read this to be able to refresh myself on what the strats are. So I use a program called Notion for this, and I'm looking at my Aqua notes right now. Aqua has all the water because Aqua. And if I just do a quick scroll, you'll see these are pretty long. There's a lot going on here. And maybe I should have also, hold on, I'll also share them for you, Keys, real quick, if you want to do the same for me. But yeah, the notes are pretty long, so I have to do a lot of like looking over and scrolling. I also increased the font size for you all, so normally it would be a bit shorter I could see more at once than this. But I have everything kind of separated out by which world, and everything can kind of be collapsed down into these toggles. So that way, if I am moving through the run, I can just expand what section I'm in and then collapse it again, or vice versa. There's a lot of stuff where I need to know. Sometimes I remember where to go, but I don't remember how to do fight strats. Other times I kind of have a good idea of what the fight strat is if it's a bit more basic, but I don't remember where to go. So at the beginning here, like Castle of Dreams, I want to make sure I remember to grab an item from a specific chest. So I'm saying cartwheel to left, grab fleeting crystal chest. I use color coding to try to make everything that comes out of chests this like orange yellow color. Whereas any commands I want to use for movement, I use pink. So that way, even if I'm glancing at this in the middle of a run, I don't always have to read the entire paragraph. In fact, it's very rare that I would ever do that. I'm just glancing and I see the things that are highlighted. I see fleeting crystal. It reminds me, I need to grab the fleeting crystal chest. Barrier surge, I need to grab that chest. And even if I don't remember kind of which thing is in which chest, once you do it a few times, you get really used to like, this is the chest that I always get. So I don't know what's in it, but my notes say it's a barrier surge, so it's probably a barrier surge. And then things like shops and menus are really hard to memorize sometimes. Like, you can spend as much time practicing boss fights as you can practice memorizing various shops and menus. And as a result, I just use those for notes. Like, most runners will make just menu notes, so they just know which menus they need to do in the run, and they just have to remember how to do all the fights. But for me, I like having all of the strats. So like I know when I start the Jacques escort, I lock on, attack, L1, blizzard, thunder, attack, and then hopefully that'll kill most of the floods, and I just got to move the rest out of Jacques' way. So these are the kinds of like notes I take. I go, especially if we look at some more involved, like detailed fights. For example, the mirror fight I was saying had that kind of advanced strat to get a very quick kill. My notes become boiled down to just specific order of commands that I need to do. So I need to roll forward, sleep, blizzard, blizzard. I have a shorthand for 2 aerial attacks, 2A, because this game is very precise with that kind of stuff. Every Kingdom Hearts game is. And then use poison. I kind of like use sentence breaks for wherever I feel like there's a natural break, and here you go into a command style. So it gives my brain a second to like be like, okay, this next thing has a small break. Then it's Fission Faraga, 3 aerial attacks, asleep, blizzard, blizzard, poison, jump, sliding dash, and spellweaver. And again, hard to kind of like read that and parse it all instantly in the middle of a run. But if I'm practicing, I can go look at it as ahead of time, or I can look at it as I'm leading up to the boss fight or during cutscenes. And it's just that little extra refresher for me of like, this is that tough strat. It doesn't replace practice. Like I still had to practice a ton to be able to nail that strat, but it is going to give me that extra refresher if I've been doing 3 hours of some other run in a day and I just kind of forget how this one particular fight goes. So I followed a tutorial that was made by a fantastic member of the community, Pessilist, and also just altered some things based on what felt more comfortable for me or based on some newer strats. But most of my notes just look like this. Like Dragon Maleficent is the same way. It's just a lot of, here's the things you need to use in this order. And I found that personally when learning a run, writing my own notes, even if good community notes exist, helps me a lot. But not everybody's the same way, because I believe, Keys, you use community notes, right?
I do, but also I don't. And I'll explain that in a sec once you're done with what
you jump into your side.
Okay, cool. Let me make sure that it is up. So I mentioned before I was using, I wasn't doing the advanced run strategies, but I wasn't doing beginner either. I was doing a blend of intermediate, which is a good, somewhat safe route, and also just some like race strats so I wouldn't die. Now, I do use these community notes. The Pokemon Speedrun community has a GitHub that actually has like gens 1 through 3 at least. I'm sure that they have the others, but I haven't looked into that yet. And there's even like a glossary at the beginning here. It mentions what all the shorthand's going to be. So like HA is Horn Attack, MP is Mega Punch, so on and so forth. Now, the reason why I'm using the community notes and I didn't write my own is because back when I was heavily into doing Pokemon runs, this is exactly how I wrote my notes. In fact, I believe me and some of the other top runners at the time wrote in such similar shorthand that it just kind of became the community standard to write it this way. So for me, figuring out what to do and picking up what was going on was pretty simple. And it didn't take me having to write my own notes, which saved me a little bit of time. Now, what's not in the capture right now, to the left of this, there's actually clickable segments. So if I'm on the Koga split, then there's a table of contents that I could click on Koga split and it'll immediately take me to that, which that you can see. So that's pretty handy if I just have notes up as a refresher or a reminder. And then, I've gone like 3 or 4 splits without looking at my notes. It's like, oh shoot, what is the expected menu here? I can just click on that and get their lickety split. This also has a bunch of links to other things. So let me actually scroll back up to Nidoran here. So as you can see, it mentions like in Viridian Mart, buy 3, 4, or 5 Pokeballs depending on your Yellow Ball consistency. So if you're really good at the manipulations, you would just get the 3 because you don't want to keep the Pokeballs in your inventory for the sake of inventory management. And then if you do buy several balls, it mentions like pick up this item or buy less stuff so you can still have the money route the same. So it does kind of tell you and give you like friendly reminders like, hey, if you have to do this strategy, then this is what your backup is. So it's really nice to have that in one concise area when you get to a point where you might not have to do the backup that much, but once you do, it's like, oh shoot, what do I do? And,
and that's I actually do a similar thing in mind in terms of trying to find it. When I need to know a backup, I will try to put it either like in its own little block or in the same like section. And sometimes the backup is Cry if she isn't dead, which is why I said that it's really hard to finish the Dragon Maleficent fight if if I didn't get the fast strat. But thankfully I got lucky this time. But yeah, no, backup strats upon backup strats are always good to have. And I wish I had more examples in here, but yeah, I should have some examples at some places of some backup strats, but you always want to include those in your notes for sure.
Yeah, and in my case, because I'm very much a visual learner, and even then, like I don't have the greatest memory, so like I will have notes as a reference point a lot of the time, and I actually do have. So I didn't get to show this off, but this is actually a picture of different paths that you could take. after catching Nidoran, because I mentioned before, the idea is you set up the Nidoran manip, you catch the Nidoran, you clear your text boxes perfectly, and then you chain that into a Pidgey encounter and do the same thing. Now, you can't see the entire image here, but you can see the numbers 4 through 8 and then something that isn't numbered. So these visual reminders are really, really nice because it's a lot to memorize. If I scroll down a little more, okay, you know what? There you go. Then I can see 3. But if you look at the bottom here, it looks like a bunch of gibberish. The Hobbs called it the Darude.
It looks like somebody trying to spell out like the Darude Sandstorm.
Yeah, exactly. But so like it's a really nice visual reminder too, because let's go with frame 4, for example, because that one's pretty simple. So the lowercase numbers in this case are what direction was the NPC after Nidoran facing, and then the uppercase is what direction did the NPC move afterwards. So frame 4 here, it's telling you if you walk by and you see him look up and then you walk further away and he moves up, then that lets me know, hey, I'm on frame 4, which I will make this picture bigger because I know it fits. And there's actually a path drawn. And the nice thing about this is it's pretty universal for all the other manipulations you can do. So anytime you see a picture for any sort of manip in Gens 1 through 2, and I think maybe some maps are like this in 3, you'll see yellow tiles indicating you just move through those. So you move in a specific pattern. These green boxes that's when you want to press A. What A does when you're walking is it introduces lag frames, and those lag frames help align the timing of everything so you get the results that you want. So if you look at like frame 5, for example, actually, it's a miserable, horrible mess because even though it has less A presses early than like frames 4 or 3, you kind of have to draw a screw attack in the grass to get the Pidgey. And where these paths end is where you should get your Pidgey. So if you get on that tile and you keep moving, then you had failed the manip.
But then if you look at like frame 8, it's just walk.
Yeah,
like just go
frame
through
8
the
is
whole
just
thing.
go.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with this is frames 7 and later don't have written out extended manips. So again, it's supposed to go Nidoran, then Pidgey, then Encounterless Viridian Forest into a turn 1 string shot fail. It is a beefy manipulation that requires a lot of like precise movement and pressing A on the correct tiles. So you can just kind of see like an example here, like frame 2. If you got frame 2, you would walk into the guardhouse a certain way and then walk around a certain way, and you'd even skip the hidden potion in front of the guy. There are ways to do the manipulation with the hidden potion and everything. I do not have those up right now, but this is just a really nice way to have a visual map of what to do when you're learning these really difficult manips in Gen 1.
Because you're not always gonna have it memorized, right? Like I scrolled my notes to spot where I have a visual cue for myself as well, because there's a specific little spot I need to stand in order to use a strike raid to hit a far off box while I'm doing the dwarf section. There's a spot here as well where I need to know how much health do I have to be if I'm safe from a specific attack here. And so I just have a screenshot of it because I don't have HP numbers, right? So those kinds of things, if you do well with things more visually, you can do that all over the place. You could take screenshots of your menus instead of doing them the way I did here. Images like that are extremely, extremely handy. And you don't I think one of the big things is people always think that everything is memorized. And once you do enough runs, you do tend to memorize a lot of stuff. But like I said, I'm not reading every single word of this when I'm going through a run anymore. But you really don't need to have much of it memorized. Like you really don't, especially when you're learning and starting out. Don't let that intimidate you. Don't, see somebody do a run and you don't see their notes when they're doing a run, right? Maybe they don't use any. Don't let that intimidate you either. They've probably done the run hundreds of times. But for a lot of people, they'll probably have notes up and you just don't see them because there's no point in them capturing that on the screen. And even though I made these super detailed notes, right? You don't have to go this detailed with it. And even if you do, this still only took me a day. It took me, I think, especially for Aqua. Aqua was a day to learn. Also, the emoji for Ventus's child. Just wanted to throw that out there. Aqua was like a day to learn. So it looks like a lot of notes when I scroll through this, but at the end of the day, this only took 1 day out of my time. So even if you run a really busy life, you can just split it up across multiple days. Just learn like a world at a time, learn a fight at a time, whatever you got to do, and find something that works for you. I mean, most notes for the longest time lived in Pastebin, which is basically just a notepad. So like
I still use Pastebin for most of my runs.
Yeah. Like they don't have to look this detailed or anything. You put whatever effort you want into. Like I said, I kind of want to turn these into more community facing notes, which is why I was a bit more detailed with them. Kind of like how Keiz's are. And I also find the visual separation easier for me at a glance, because there's a lot of times where I know what bosses are coming up. I know how to do them. So maybe I'm sitting here in like Trinity armor, and I just did Trinity armor, and I don't really need notes for Vanitas 1 or for the fights in Deep Space 1, but I just need to know when's my next menu, because I don't remember when the next menu is, and I don't remember what's in the next menu. So I just have to scroll until I see, oh, there's my big visual separation. So that is, that is not just for looking nice, it's also for my own quick reference, basically.
I'm going to bring up something about the community notes for Pokemon Red in just a sec, but we mentioned Pastebin, so I don't know how... Oh, this is not captured well at all. Okay, so pretend like you can see the left. So I have the most basic looking notes. In fact, I'm going to change the crop a little bit here. Hopefully it's not too detrimental for our producer here. Let me see if it will cooperate or not. Change that to 0.
Yeah, these notes look more like what I've used plenty of times in the past.
This is very much like how I write notes for anything and everything. They don't have to be pretty. Pretty is always good if you are a visual learner or if you're very new to the run. But these are notes that I made specifically for myself, and like I know exactly what I mean, like on line 32 when I say amulet fragment not clear. You might not know. I mean, you don't even know what game I'm talking about at this point. But like you might not know what that means. But I know I can only grab this item at the time in this 100% run, and that room is not done. So don't feel like that you've done everything in that run yet.
And then, yeah, that is the big advantage of taking your own too. Is you can use your own shorthand. They just got to work for you. You know which things you're going to remember and which things you aren't going to remember, so you don't have to take notes about everything. It's really handy.
And I just fixed the crop again. Going back to the communal aspect of everything, like I said, I was using the intermediate route with some slight changes. This Pokemon Speedrunning GitHub is actually really, really cool because you have options in front of you. You can choose the beginner route, you can choose the advanced route, you can choose a race route, and there's even kind of like a little descriptor on what everything is. Like, what route do you choose? Well, if you're first starting the game, then there's the beginner route. It's focused towards being able to complete as many runs as possible, which is great for learning the game, which is a true fact for any game. The more runs you can finish, the smarter you'll become at the run, the more muscle memory you'll develop for any standardized techniques or menuing or anything like that. And you can use the beginner route all the way until like low 147, the high 148. Like you can actually use this route for a very long time, and it is a clickable option, and it will give you even more options. Like there are so many variations for this route. Like there's the quote unquote last version and then no last version. That's talking about whether you fight the last on top of Route 3 or skip her, which actually does change how some of the manipulations work. I was going to try and show everyone the Mount Moon manip again, even though I did have the input display up for that, just so I could kind of explain what was going on. But turns out that manipulation is so precise that it relies on number of trainers fought, and I have fought significantly more than the trainers that I need to show that off again.
Right.
But like a lot of communities have stuff like this. It might not look as nice as this, but a lot of communities have tons of notes, tons of resources, and even if it's an older route, you can still utilize an older route to get used to the game. Like there might be a route from 2016 that's been obsoleted since 2019 or whatever, but it's still going to be something that you can use if it's easier and it helps you get more used to the game. When I started speedrunning Pokemon, I started with Pokemon Crystal, and my first like 3 or 4 completed runs. One, they took forever because I did it in segments to get used to everything. But 2, I was using strategies that had been obsoleted for about 2 years prior because I didn't know that there were better notes. But it still translated to success once I learned the newer route and actually understood a lot of the at that time, the more modern strategies. Now they're old as dirt like we are, but...
Yeah. And we're not going to belabor the point a ton here. I think we could probably wrap up around here unless you had any other things to add, Keys. But the main thing was that we just wanted to show you all it's easier than you think to jump into these. Even when we do kind of these practice speedruns, this learning does not take as long as you might suspect it takes, even for hard stuff. I did come in, I come into this with the advantage of running other Kingdom Hearts games. So that does help me out in this game. Keys is relearning Pokemon Red, and he runs Pokemon all the time. That obviously helps him as well. So don't feel like if it takes you 3 days to learn something that took us a day or whatever, that means you're bad at it or whatever. It's just the nature of experience. But hopefully this gives you a few ideas about how to get into speedrunning yourself for a game you really care about. If there aren't good notes, hey, you could always be the person to make good community notes, or just make your own first and then see if you can get people to kind of help collaborate on them to make them better and fit more different strategies and backups and whatnot. And just try watching record, try watching 10th place on the leaderboard, try watching any tutorials that exist, and make your own notes off that because they really do help. And I don't think we're going to go through this on every run we do. Hopefully we'll be able to show off some tricks and stuff if we ever have extra time. But know that for every run we're going to do this month, we have these kinds of notes. We absolutely do. We are not going to have everything just memorized off the top of our heads. So keep that in mind. Anything else to add, Keys?
Just a real quick pivot on something that you did mention about getting together and making notes with people. Something that you could do if you are trying to make notes or gather ideas with other people, just like a simple Google Doc. So it's not all separated. You can have everything in there. It doesn't even have to be organized nice and pretty. You could just have everyone's ideas in there. And honestly, making notes with other runners is sometimes a way to accidentally stumble into different strats and whatnot.
Yeah.
We did Cat Quest 2 ages ago, and we changed some of the routing and some of the strats compared to what the current record was at the time after we finished TFS. And it was because Hobbs and I sat there and I looked at it with my mind a certain way, and Hobbs looked at it with his mind a certain way, and we both came up with different strategies that actually improved the run. And it's just, remember that speedrunning is also a collaborative thing as well. It makes a huge difference.
It is extremely collaborative. And it's also working on notes with others like that are going to be ways to learn things about the game that you never knew. Learn ways a specific fight can control you, or ways to handle when a specific fight gives you a different piece of RNG that you never really knew how to handle. That kind of thing is just so invaluable and comes a lot from talking with community members.
And then one other pivot I wanted to make based on something else you mentioned is you mentioned maybe watch a 10th place run or something. I'm going to give some people a little bit of a sneak peek to whenever we've done the second step. We sure as heck don't watch the top 3 times, because that would be completely unreasonable for us to learn the game from that level. We have had top runners teach us things, but that is infinitely different from staring at a world record run or a 3rd place run and thinking that you can understand everything right away. We typically look at some of the lower place runs, 10th, 15th, even 50th, if it's a really popular or competitive category. And that's a pretty good way to get into learning speedruns as well, because a lot of those lower place times, they have a lot of strats that you might not see in a more optimized or, more YOLO run. So you'll be able to figure out some things a lot quicker and also understand why some things are done the way they are. You saw me in this race pick up a hidden full restore. You would never see that in a top run, but you see me do it because I was playing super duper safe. That might not have been something that you noticed if you just immediately jumped into a top 3, top 5 time. You might miss out on some of the safety strats, or you might miss why, they do this fight by kicking 3 times before they do their ultimate attack. I wonder why. You might not be able to pick up on that right away because you might miss out on why by missing out on some of these lower placed runs.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked this little kind of breakdown of how we went about learning these runs, how what our notes look like, how kind of dive into specific tips for specific games or for general learning of speedruns, let us know in chat. Let us know in the YouTube comments as well. We do go back and check the comments periodically. So please let us know there if you thought this was interesting, or if you're like, nah, I hated it and for some reason kept watching. I don't know. Let us know that too, because we want to be able to keep always evolving the show to be able to best help you all get into speedrunning. With that all in mind, as Keys mentioned earlier, we have a show that's even better for helping you get into speedrunning, specific speedruns, and that is How to Train a Speedrunner. That is hosted by our good friend Church and Sarge, and will be coming up just after this, after a short little break. So we're going to get out of here for this week. We'll see you next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and get excited for more Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon, because we're going to do more of that. All right,
Bye, everyone.
See ya.